Chapter 219. Of course, Zhou Zhengquan was not stupid enough to compete with Lu Cheng in terms of physical strength. This was the truth that the previous martyrs had proved with their own honor and disgrace. He was not that stubborn to confirm it himself. Sometimes, people had to believe in evil. At first, he was sensitive enough to notice that Lu Cheng was trying to end the fight quickly, so he planned to weaken his opponent's momentum bit by bit. When the time was right, he would immediately burst out and win with all his strength. Now that he saw Lu Cheng calm down and assume a steady defense, his heart skipped a beat. He knew that his plan A was completely ruined and could no longer be realized. He could only try the plan B prepared before the fight. If so, my image will be ruined. Zhou Zhengquan arched his back and dashed forward like a bolt of lightning. When he was close to Lu Cheng, he swayed his center of gravity and slid to Lu Cheng's side as if he was treading on water. He twisted his waist and shoulder, twisted his whole body's strength, and punched his right arm diagonally. He performed the surge of fly-fall punch. Bam! Lu Cheng's right arm tightened and swung sideways. Like an iron whip, it exploded the air. Even if it was a stone in front of him, it could be smashed into pieces. Bang! In the muffled sound, Lu Cheng's body swayed a bit, while Zhou Zhengquan moved away and repeated the pattern just now. Bam, 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 bam. They kept fighting and separating. Fly-fall punches, continuous, and 24 blizzard strikes showed their strengths. Everything was like a reenactment of the previous story. However, Lu Cheng, who had calmed down, was very clear that the essence was different. The one who was looking for an opportunity impatiently was not himself but Zhou Zhengquan. He patiently defended and assumed a posture to compete with physical strength consumption. At the same time, he was ready to face Zhou Zhengquan's full outbreak. At the climax of the battle, Zhou Zhengquan gradually gained the upper hand in this kind of close-range fight where he couldn't use his feet to exert force. Lu Cheng was firmly suppressed, and Lu Cheng cooperated with this process, waiting for changes to appear. Bam! After Zhou Zhengquan's low kick failed, he hit Lu Cheng's arm with a single whip. Lu Cheng lowered his center of gravity and suddenly turned his waist and back. His joints and muscles were all opened, and again a strong swing force was released. He knew that Zhou Zhengquan would not let go of this opportunity. Zhou Zhengquan's upper body swayed to the side. Just as he was about to be flung away, his qi and blood suddenly flowed back and gathered in his dantian, making him as steady as Mount Tai, not moving an inch. Amazing! Compared to exerting strength in both feet, borrowing the force to swing back, who knew how much more brilliant it was? Lu Cheng praised in his mind. But he had already seized the short time to compress the corresponding muscles and fascia of his arms and visualize rolling thunderclouds. Then he suddenly pushed his left foot inwards, straightened his back, and clasped his hands together. In a manner that could split mountains and rocks, he slammed it diagonally from the top right to the bottom left. Mountain-shattering quake. Gotcha! A spider web appeared at his feet. In Zhou Zhengquan's mind, there was the image of a waterfall pouring down from a towering mountain, the torrent violently crashing against the ground, and the spray of water splashing into the air. The condensed point in his dantian exploded with a bang. All of the power converged into one and gushed out fiercely, causing his arm to draw into a bow and his fist to turn into a hammer. Pa! Zhou Zhengquan's whole body seemed to expand. He shot out his right fist in a condescending manner, penetrating through layers of air. Fly-fall punch, waterfall. Bang! A muffled thunder sounded in the arena, shaking the cheers of the audience to a halt. Invisible ripples turned into a gust of wind, blowing in all directions from the place where Lu Cheng and Zhou Zhengquan clashed. Lu Cheng's body jumped a little, his ears were ringing, his eyes were dizzy, and his qi and blood were tumbling. It seemed that he could not bear the full power of the dance stage and had to take a step back. One step was not enough. 2 steps, 3 steps, 4 steps. At the same time, his abdomen wriggled and his body emitted a thunderous sound, counteracting the shock caused by the impact of the waterfall. Zhou Zhengquan, who was hit by the mountain-shattering quake of Thunder Roar Zen, was not in a good condition either. Every bone and every joint in his body was shaking, and every inch of his tendons and flesh was rippling. Seeing that Lu Cheng was retreating after the head-on collision, Zhou Zhengquan was unable to catch up with him and seize the opportunity to win. Such a scene was exactly what Lu Cheng had expected. After taking 4 steps back, he eliminated the shock and dissolved the majestic power of the dance stage explosion. He began to adjust the corresponding parts of his body, preparing to stomp on the ground and take the initiative to counterattack. Severe warning. At this moment, the trembling of Zhou Zhengquan's body, the tumbling of his body, and the paleness of his face suddenly gathered together with his qi, blood, and mental strength to form a human body Big Dan. In the live broadcast room of Songqing TV station, Ganle blurted out, "Double explosion." After completing the triple explosion of the Dan stage, Zhou Zhengquan could still make another double explosion. Yan Shaoling, Brahmin, and the rest of the audience, who had just heard the horror of the triple explosion of the Dan stage from the commentator, held their breaths and felt inexplicably uneasy. According to last week's competition and the previous video, everyone guessed that Zhou Zhengquan could still complete the Dan stage explosion 2 or 3 times without any injury. But no one expected that he could make another double explosion. Brahmin, Ganlu, Yan Zheka, and Lu Cheng did not expect this. When he saw Zhou Zhengquan's force concentration, he had only completed half of the preparation for the severe warning. It was too late. Lu Cheng made a prompt decision and stopped the follow-up. He slightly adjusted the change of his body and changed it to the prerequisite of the frost force. Fortunately, the severe warning was a combination of the frost force. The two had too many similarities in the corresponding state of the bones, muscles, and viscera. The former was more complicated, while the latter was relatively simpler, which was suitable for Lu Cheng to complete quickly. Boom! When pressed to the extreme, it could also explode to the extreme. The Dan in Zhou Zhengquan's body exploded, and all the accumulated strength in his body surged out, making him a little taller and more powerful. He caught up with Lu Cheng in one leap, raised his right hand high, and turned it into a waterfall, surging down. The turbid river in Lu Cheng's mind suddenly froze and froze inch by inch. Its rolling posture became a still picture. The cold current in his body turned into a tide. Lu Cheng put his feet together, twisted his waist, and bounced his right arm, clenched his fist, and punched upward. Rocket-propelled cannon, frost force. Bang! Lu Cheng's body suddenly became shorter, and his feet sank into the blue stone a little. His qi and blood surged crazily, triggering the previous shock, shaking his viscera, muscles, and tendons. He almost tasted something sweet in his throat, which made him feel sick and uncomfortable. Unable to do anything, he could only roll back along with the majesty of the waterfall to dissolve the remaining force and avoid fractures or internal injuries. And Zhou Zhengquan's fist was covered with a layer of white frost. Part of the cold current was dispersed, but part of it poured into his body and quickly spread to his whole body. He couldn't help but shiver and stiffen his muscles. If his body was still in the same condition as before, he would naturally be able to quickly beat his heart, surge his blood, and dissolve the ice. But after forcibly completing 2 successive strikes, he was almost exhausted. Moreover, he was hit by a mountain-shattering quake, which made his viscera uncomfortable. For a short time, he actually stayed there and couldn't catch up with Lu Cheng, who had lost his center of gravity and lost his stance. Thump, 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 thump. Everyone was praying for Lu Cheng in silence, hoping that he could stand up first. Yan Zheka couldn't sit still anymore. She stood up from her seat and looked at the arena with concern and anxiety. Thump! Lu Cheng's vibration was slightly relieved. He immediately jumped up like a carp and stood up. Li Liantong, Fan Yanqi, and the rest of the audience instinctively cheered, but they saw Zhou Zhengquan move. His lips were pale, and he stepped on the black bricks and pounced on Lu Cheng. Again, he visualized the power of the waterfall and raised his right arm. Bam! He clenched his fist and chopped down. Waterfall of fly-fall punch. Lu Cheng's feet were still shaking, so he didn't have time to dodge. He could only gather his remaining strength and tighten the muscles of his hands, wrists, forearms, and upper arms to visualize the flashing silver-white thundercloud. Thump! He didn't show any weakness and punched upward. Thunder roar zen. Bang! As soon as the two touched, he immediately exploded the tight part, which made a short but strong impact. Thump! Lu Cheng and Zhou Zhengquan stepped back at the same time. When their feet landed, they were both floating. Their bodies were obviously trembling, and their eyes were blank. Thump! Humph! Both of them recovered at the same time. Zhou Zhengquan gathered his strength again, twisted his waist and back, and stretched out his arms to hit the waterfall of fly-fall punch again. When two rivals meet on a narrow road, the brave wins. Lu Cheng knew he couldn't dodge at this time. He also visualized the thundercloud, compressed the corresponding fascia and muscles, and hit the sky rocket cannon with Thunder Roar Zen as the base. Bang! Both of them were shocked and felt so disgusted that they wanted to vomit. They felt that every part of their bodies was trembling, as if they had lost control of their bodies in a short time. Thump! Lu Cheng recovered a little from the thunder in his abdomen. He didn't make any adjustments, but swung his left arm and hit the Thunder Roar Zen again. Zhou Zhengquan was obviously a little slower. He could only barely raise his arms to block the attack. Bang! His body jumped a little, and his arms became soft and weak. Is he exhausted? Lu Cheng didn't want to show mercy. He shook his right shoulder and hit the Thunder Roar Zen again. Bang! Zhou Zhengquan was like being hit by a bomb. After blocking the attack, he fell to the ground. He curled up his body and kept retching. If he continued to fight, he would have internal bleeding. The referee raised his right hand and calmly shouted, "Round 3, Lu Cheng wins." Seeing the scene of Zhou Zhengquan falling to the ground and hearing the referee's announcement, Huan Fan, Yan Xiaoling, and the others in front of the computer, as well as Li Liantong, Fan Yanqi, and the other audience members in the scene, all let out a sigh of relief. Lu Cheng! While cheering, they were shocked to see Lu Cheng bend over and retch with a painful expression. Obviously, he was not relaxed. Yan Zhika's heart was in her mouth again. At this time, Lu Cheng, who felt uncomfortable all over, was a little confused. How could this battle be more difficult and dangerous than he expected? Not only did he not find a chance to hit the severe warning, but he also left a strong impact. Although he won, it was a Pyrrhic victory. Even if Zhou Zhengquan could hit the double combo again, it shouldn't be like this. When he thought of severe warning, he suddenly had an epiphany. He remembered the various problems he had exposed when he used this move. He also remembered the few words his master had said to him. Do you think Zhou Zhengquan will stand there like a wooden stake and wait for you to prepare the severe warning? Wait for you to meet force with force? Even your frost force needs a short period of time to complete, let alone the severe warning that you just learned? If you really put your hope on this move, you will be like a 3-year-old child holding a 1,000-pound hammer. Not only will you not hit the enemy, but you will also hurt yourself easily. The purpose of practicing severe warning is not to master it, but to use it to further master Frost Force and Thunder Roar Zen. This is what you have to fight against Zhou Zhengquan. That's right. Back then, I clearly felt that it made a lot of sense. But when I thought about the unity of opposites, I ignored those words and focused all my attention on mastering and using severe warning. Geezer Sure in the home team seat sighed and said to himself, I was like this in the past. It was hard to forget oneself. Chapter 220. In the live broadcast room of Songqing TV station, the host Fang Juexiao couldn't help but praise, "This match is really wonderful. I haven't had such a fierce fight for a long time. Ulgon, I see that Lu Cheng is in pain and has been retching. How much do you think he is affected by the concussion?" Gonla sighed. His body refinement is close to the peak. If it wasn't for the fact that he felt extremely uncomfortable and couldn't control his body, he wouldn't have displayed the appearance of retching. Sigh. I originally thought quite highly of him. I thought that as long as he could pass Zhou Zhengquan's test, with that abnormal physical strength of his, he would have a great chance of beating Hou Yu. So serious? Fang Juexiao asked even though he already knew the answer. He knew that the audience watching the live broadcast would definitely be very concerned about this. Even the students watching the live broadcast would probably check the forum and watch the live broadcast intermittently to understand Lu Cheng's current situation from their explanations. Gonla nodded as a mighty one of the dance stage, shattering many people's expectations. Yes, very serious. Fang Juexiao made a regretful expression. Unfortunately, there is no time to talk to let him recover. Well, Hou Yu is about to enter the ring. Let's switch back to the scene. After listening to the analysis of the two commentators, Yan Xiaoling's heart tightened. She hurriedly posted a post in the BBS and tagged Unparalleled Dragon King and Road to the Arena. Come out quickly. Is our Lu Cheng serious? Unparalleled Dragon King replied with a sighing emoji. Can my vision and judgment be better than a mighty one of the dance stage? My judgment is the same as that of the commentators. Lu Cheng is greatly affected and his physical condition is very bad. Road to the Arena answered seriously. Brahman sent an emoji of holding back tears. What should I do? I want to cry so much. Don't cry. Let's cheer for Lu Cheng together. Yan Xiaoling quickly gathered her strength. With tears in her eyes, she bit her lips and clenched her fists, looking at the live broadcast nervously and expectantly. In the martial arts arena of Songqing University, although Li Liantong and others didn't check the BBS or listen to the commentary, when they saw Lu Cheng's painful performance through the big screen, they still felt an inexplicable concern and bad premonition. How is he? Is he injured? Would they lose the next match? The excited shouts that had erupted because of Zhou Zhengquan's fall had quieted down. Many of the female students, including Fan Yanqi, had put on a praying posture, their hands covering their mouths. Come on, Lu Cheng. In the seats of the home team, Yan Zheka walked to the stone steps, ignoring the gazes of others. She bit her lower lip with her pearly white teeth, looking distressed and worried. Her hands were clenched into fists. When they passed by each other, Zhou Zhengquan with messy hair and a pale face murmured, "Fight!" Hou Yu nodded hard, clenched his fist and said, "Fight!" In the face of such a strong enemy like Lu Cheng, how could he win if he didn't fight, no matter how weak and painful he was? If he didn't fight, how could he seize the opportunity when his body was still affected by the shock? Hou Yu stepped into the arena and stood at the position where Zhou Zhengquan stood before, hearing the buzzing sound from Lu Cheng's body. Lu Cheng opened his eyes, exhaled a foul air, and instantly switched from internal training to fighting mode. The referee raised his right hand and waved it down steadily. Start! Lu Cheng, whose calves were still trembling, didn't move. Even if he could move, he wouldn't, because it was not a wise idea to chase a monkey running all over the arena, especially in his current state. And if he was careless, his mood would be affected. The more he fought, the more anxious he would be, and the more serious the problem would become. So he took a breath, and calmly observed Hou Yu's every move. He was not only waiting for his opponent's attack, but also seizing the time to recover. The longer the battle lasted, the better it was for him. Hou Yu jumped around Lu Cheng with his agile footwork. He took a sudden step forward when he saw the opportunity and rushed to the side of his opponent. Then he turned his waist and twisted the strength of his whole body into one, and punched at his opponent's waist. Lu Cheng sat down, straightened his spine, exploded the strength of his shoulders, clenched his fist, and punched down with a whistling sound. Bang! In the muffled sound, both sides shook. Just when Lu Cheng thought Hou Yu would take the opportunity to dodge and continue to fight, he saw Hou Yu clench his teeth, widen his eyes, and suddenly put strength in his feet, which made several cracks. He wants to use the fly-fall punch, waterfall, to trigger the remaining influence in my body? Lu Cheng instantly understood Hou Yu's plan, but he knew his physical condition was not enough to support this dodge, so he also clenched his teeth, adjusted the corresponding muscles and fascia, wriggled the related viscera, and visualized a vast river. Who's afraid of you? Lu Cheng, with the courage to risk his life, froze the turbid river, made the waves crystal clear, made the world stand still, and made the muscles of his arms expand, as if he was holding a heavy object, and punched up. Cold current into tide. Frost force. At this time, Hou Yu also violently clenched his fist and chopped down with the flying fall 3,000 feet. Bang! There was a brief haze at the place where the two fists met, like a thin mist of white frost. Lu Cheng's body trembled obviously again, and the muscles of his face twitched uncontrollably. The remaining influence in his body was triggered a lot, which made his previous attempt to recover in vain. Hou Yu kept shivering, his lips turned purple, and his hands and feet were stiff and cold. Thump, thump, thump. His heart beat violently, expanded and contracted quickly, and spurted out a stream of hot blood to dissolve the coldness in his body. Then, he made a choice that was contrary to his fighting style and character. Again, he visualized the accumulating and rising source, twisted his waist, and popped out his arms. Not even half a step back. At the same time, Lu Cheng also wriggled his abdomen, visualized the thundercloud, and made a reverse offset, which was a preliminary relief. Facing Hou Yu's ferocious face and unflinching attack, he had no time to change his visualization, so he had to change his internal training to external attack, tightened his arms, and launched the sky cannon. Bang! There seemed to be an explosion in the arena, and the two were rebounded by the impact, and each took a step back. Humph! Hou Yu used his internal training method. His eyes were red, and the shock had yet to dissipate. He stepped on the black bricks and pounced forward again. He fought crazily, forgetting himself, disregarding everything. He fought like he was not himself. At this time, Lu Cheng was so uncomfortable that he wanted to lie down directly. He had no time or opportunity to squeeze the Jindan. He could only force himself to take a breath, and with the momentum of all out and fighting, he swung his arm and blasted out a seabed quake. The waterfall flew down and hit the ground. Hou Yu didn't make a downward cut, but clenched his fist diagonally to block Lu Cheng's thunder roar zen. Bang! The thunder on the ground shocked the whole audience into silence. The remaining influence in Lu Cheng's body was completely detonated. His legs were weak, his qi and blood rushed to his throat, and he fell to the ground with tinnitus and dizziness. Opposite him, Hou Yu, who had been hit by a frost force and 2 tremor punches, also had stiff muscles, trembling joints, and rolling qi and blood. He couldn't stand up anymore, and suddenly collapsed. After 3 moves in a row, Hou Yu, who was not good at this, and Lu Cheng, who was in a bad condition, fell to the ground at the same time. The referee stood beside them, silently counting the time. Li Liantong, Fan Yanxi, and other audience members were worried at first, and then they came to themselves. With red eyes, they shouted a name in unison. Lu Cheng! Lu Cheng! Lu Cheng! Lu Cheng! Lu Cheng! In front of the computer screen, Yan Shaoling, Brahmin, and others also shouted this name in a low voice, as if they wanted to give him courage and strength to help him stand up. Lu Cheng! Lu Cheng! Yan Zheka, Sun Jian, and others also shouted loudly with the audience, but one was at the side of the ring, and the others were at the seats. Lin Ke subconsciously clenched his fists and stared at the ring. Lu Cheng saw Hou Yu fall to the ground from the corner of his eyes, and tried to adjust the condition of his body while he was retching. He tried to visualize the thundercloud to finish one internal training and stand up first. However, even his mind and thoughts were shaking, so he couldn't visualize at all. Lu Cheng! Lu Cheng! Amidst the orderly shouts, a figure struggled to get up. His legs were trembling, but he stood firmly. The shouts of the whole arena stopped, and there was an indescribable silence, because it was Hou Yu who stood up. Hou Yu's face was pale. He took a deep breath and stepped to Lu Cheng's side. Without him doing anything, the referee raised his right hand and announced the result. Round 4, Hou Yu wins. Hearing this, Hou Yu looked back at his own seat, with snot and tears running down his face. Senior brother Zhou, I won. I didn't let you down. Lin Ke loosened his hands and buried his face deep. Li Liantong, Wu Qian, Fan Yanxi, and other students couldn't hold it anymore, and tears fell down. He walked so hard, but he stopped here? Just a little bit more. Vaguely hearing the judgment, Lu Cheng's heart was suddenly filled with pain and annoyance. It's all my fault. I was too complacent. I didn't take the responsibility of this competition. At this moment, he felt that he was supported by someone, and he smelled a familiar fragrance. Looking sideways, he saw Yan Zheka's beautiful face. Thinking that he failed to live up to the girl's expectations, that he didn't fulfill his promise, and that his high spirits and confidence turned into bubbles, Lu Cheng was full of guilt and shame, and he didn't dare to face Yan Zheka. He whispered painfully, I'm sorry. Yan Zheka looked at the boy who was in extreme pain, and her heart was full of pity. Her eyes were red and she said softly, You played very well. Just a little bit more and you could have won. I should have played better. Lu Cheng clenched his fists, and wanted to give himself a punch. Otherwise, he couldn't dispel the shame and self-blame in his heart. That little bit could have been fought for. Yan Zheka knew that the more she talked, the more painful it would be. She didn't want to dwell on this topic and said firmly, Then win it back later. Win it back later? Lu Cheng was stunned and answered in a promising manner, Okay. As soon as he calmed down, he returned to the seats. Seeing the painful Lin Ke, the confused Sun Jian, and the others, he couldn't help but blame himself. He took a breath and said solemnly, I'm sorry. I didn't play well this time. Li Mao immediately answered, No, we were too weak. It's good enough that you've fought to this extent. Otherwise, losing this round meant losing everything, and they couldn't count on the substitute match. Yes, we were too weak. We could only count on you too. Lin Hua's eyes were misty. Lin Ke also put down his palms, and said with a painful but firm look in his eyes, I was also wrong. I wasn't good enough. Hearing that his teammates were scrambling to take responsibility, Lu Cheng's eyes blurred, and he almost shed tears. At this time, Geezer Shi, who had been silent, said, "Do you understand?" Lu Cheng lowered his head and nodded slightly. "I understand." "Don't be complacent in the future." Geezer Shi sighed. "Then I'll teach you one more thing. Don't be complacent, and don't lose your spirit when you're down." "Lose my spirit?" Lu Cheng looked up blankly. Geezer Shi nodded and answered, "Yes, the spirit of chasing, the spirit of striving, and the spirit of fighting." Chapter 221. The Spirit of Pursuit, the Spirit of Perseverance, the Spirit of Struggle. Lu Cheng was shocked and couldn't help but shudder. He kept reciting these three kinds of spirits and climbed out of the swamp of regret and self-blame. Failure was not terrible. What was terrible was not being able to recover after failure. Seeing Lu Cheng's reaction, Geezer Shi smiled with satisfaction. Dong Lin's squad can only be considered as a small pit on your martial arts path. When you cross this threshold and look back, you will find that it is not a problem at all. You should set your sights higher. The real opponent you need to catch up with, challenge and defeat is in the university martial arts competitions. Haha, when Peng Liyun was at professional 8th pin, he beat Zhou Zhengquan just like you beat most of the professional 9th pin fighters now. After this incident, he seemed to have acquiesced to open the master-disciple relationship between them and calmly taught Lu Cheng. Lu Cheng took a deep breath and felt that the next goal was more and more clear. That was to break through the big devil Peng Liyun, who had been lingering in his ears for the past year. He wanted to catch up with the real genius who was regarded as his role model by his master at the beginning of his martial arts practice. If he couldn't win the championship of the university martial arts competition before Peng Liyun graduated, even if he and Lin Ke were lucky enough to win this honor, it would be full of regret. Geezer Shi didn't say more. He turned to Sun Jian and said, "What are you waiting for? Go up and finish what you started." Because they lost the last match 2-3, even if Sun Jian beat Hou Yu, who was in a bad condition this round, the final score would only be a draw. There would be an extra round of substitutes. Among the substitutes, Dong Lin's squad still had a strong professional 9th pin fighter, Li Shengnan. Songqing University Martial Arts Club didn't even have an amateur 1st pin fighter, so there would be no surprises. Therefore, Sun Jian didn't rush into the arena. It didn't matter to let Hou Yu recover a little. After all, it wouldn't change the overall situation. Sun Jian nodded and walked to the stone steps with mixed feelings. If only we substitutes were stronger. In the arena, Hou Yu had performed the waterfall of the fly fall punch 3 times in a row. Not only did he consume a lot of energy, but his body was also affected by the shock. He couldn't run around the arena. Sun Jian cautiously circled around him for a while, and found that his opponent seemed to have difficulty even walking. So he plucked up his courage and approached him with the 24 blizzard strikes. The referee raised his right hand and said in a calm tone, "5th round, Sun Jian wins." Under normal circumstances, the audience would cheer for Sun Jian and cheer for the martial arts club. But now, they were silent and even sobbing, as if they were watching a tragedy unfold. Before the match, they had already been briefed on the rules. They also knew that the substitutes of their own martial arts club were no match for the other party. As expected, the referee continued to announce, "The result of this match is Songqing University Martial Arts Club's victory. The overall result of this match is a tie. Additional round, substitute battle." Geezer Shi looked at Li Mao and the others and sighed. "Are you going to compete?" "That's right. Do you want to compete?" They couldn't win the game and couldn't change the result. Li Mao and Lin Hua were silent for a while. They were at a loss. Why waste physical strength and effort? Yan Zheka lowered her eyelashes and covered her eyes. She forced a smile and said, "Of course. Coach Shi, didn't you say that we are here for actual combat? How could he not play when there's a competition?" "You're right." Geezer Shi blushed and laughed dryly. "Go ahead then." This old man had almost forgotten this slogan. "Don't you want to cheer for me?" Yan Zheka reached out her hand to Lu Cheng. Her eyes were red and bright. Lu Cheng took a breath and said in a voice that could only be heard by both parties, "Go Coach Yan." With a clap, they high-fived each other. Yan Zheka turned around and walked down from her seat to the stone steps. She felt sad, pitiful and regretful. But there was also a firm belief in her heart. We can lose, but we can't admit defeat. Seeing this beautiful girl, who shouldn't exist in the violent arena, walking to the battlefield without hesitation, the audience seemed to be infected. They calmed down and scattered cheers sounded again. Fighting to this extent, we are already good enough. There weren't many miracles in the world. Yan Zheka's fierce attack at the beginning did startle Li Shengnan. But she was much more experienced and stronger than her opponent. She soon steadied herself and launched a counterattack. She won quickly. Then Li Mao and Lin Hua took turns to challenge her, but they still couldn't break through this wall. The referee took a breath and said loudly, "Substitute battle, Dong Lin's squad wins." The final result, Dong Lin's squad wins. The whole arena fell into silence again. A thick sense of sadness reverberated in the martial arts gym. Yan Zheka bit her lower lip and pulled Lu Cheng with misty eyes. "Cheng, let's go and say thank you to everyone." Lu Cheng originally had this idea. But after not being able to bear the result, he was afraid to face the enthusiastic students and see their disappointed and sad expressions. At this moment, hearing his girlfriend's suggestion, he took a deep breath and said, "Okay. A man can't be a coward. Since it's my responsibility, I have to face it myself. No matter how disappointed they are, or scolded me, or even throw things at me, I'll bear it. I'll make up for it in the next match." Lu Cheng stood up, patted Sun Jian, Li Mao, and others, and led them to the stands. Hand in hand, they bowed together. "Thank you for your support, for your cheers, for your shouts, and for your sadness." Just when Lu Cheng was ready to bear everything, a hoarse shout suddenly rang out from the stands. "Next time! Next time!" Lu Cheng and others were stunned and didn't react. The spectators in the stands were silent at first, and then they shouted noisily, "Next time! Next time! Next time! Win for us next time!" The voices gradually became uniform, which affected the other stands. All the spectators shouted in unison, "Next time! Next time!" No complaints, no disappointment, only encouragement and expectation. Lu Cheng, who had always believed that men don't cry easily, and men don't shed tears when they bled, suddenly had tears in his eyes and a sore nose. Once again, he and his teammates bowed deeply, thanking for their love and support. "It's so good to have you. We'll win next time. Next time. Next time." The shouts of the audience were transmitted to thousands of households through the airwaves, making Yan Xiaoling, Brahman, and the other girls burst into tears. Choking with sobs, they followed and shouted, "Next time, next time, next time. Next time. Next time." Xu Rue, who had just been out of school for a year, was affected by the atmosphere. She sniffed and was afraid that she would be too embarrassed to cry. At the same time, she was worried about what to do. Songqing University lost. How to interview Lin Ke later. Thinking of this, she really wanted to cry. Next time. Next time. Lu Cheng turned his head to look at Yan Zheka with blurred vision. He found that the girl's eyes were filled with mist. Her eyes were obviously red, but she didn't cry. "Cry." He held the girl's hand. She took a breath and said with a smile that was uglier than crying, "I don't cry when I'm sad. Next time. Next time." Li Liantong, Fan Yanxi, and others had been completely immersed in the atmosphere, crying and shouting at the same time. Laughter can make people reminisce from time to time, while crying is unforgettable. After the game, Lu Cheng took a shower, changed his clothes, and walked out of the locker room directly. He was familiar with the way and knew that there would be an interview waiting for him, so the sooner he finished, the better. Xu Rue looked at him in surprise. She laughed and said, "Lu Cheng, I thought you would be the last to come out." Lu Cheng wanted to make a joke and say, "Last time I won, so I gave the limelight to everyone. Today I lost, so I'll take the blame first." But he was not in the mood. He just replied politely, "I didn't know you would be waiting for an interview." Good boy. Compared to Lin Ke, he was much better. Xu Rue ridiculed and brought the topic back on track. "You don't seem to be in a good mood. Was today's game very important to you?" "Every game is important to me." Lu Cheng said concisely, "Failure will definitely make people unhappy." Xu Rue thought for a while and said, "Then I'll be bold and ask, what do you think of this failure? What do you think you lost in?" What do you need to improve? We are more or less the same as the Donglin squad. Both of us have a chance to win. This time, it's mainly because I've been going so smoothly and got a little carried away. I always wanted to take down the opponent in one go. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to face Zhou Zhengquan's Dan stage explosion head-on. Lu Cheng said sincerely, taking up his own responsibility. A man can't shirk. As for the reason that he lost because of the simplified physical invulnerability moves, he would definitely not say that. Since he didn't use it, it was a rare trump card. Xu Rui thought for a while and comforted him. It's normal to be young and frivolous. Knowing how to reflect is a sign of maturity. By the way, Lu Cheng, you will participate in the National University Martial Arts competition in the next half of the year. What's your goal? Well, to enter the national finals. Lu Cheng didn't say that his goal was Peng Leyun and the overall champion, because it would definitely be ridiculed. Although you are strong, you are not at the same level as Peng Leyun. In fact, you are far from him. And his improvement is not slower than yours. Then I wish you success. Xu Rui ended the short interview. She continued to interview Yan Zheka and the others. Then she faced the ultimate challenge, the expressionless Lin Quebec, Lin K. What do you think of your performance in today's game? Xu Rui tried to cut in from the perspective of the martial arts competition. Lin K said indifferently, not good. Why? Xu Rui had the urge to go crazy again. Can't you answer in one breath? Why are you like a voice assistant? You answer one question after another. I didn't expect Zhou Zhengquan to make 3 consecutive bursts at the beginning. Lin K's eyes showed that he was in pain. If he had fought a little better and left some influence on Zhou Zhengquan, the result would have been different. Xu Rui nodded and asked, the National University Martial Arts competition will be in the next half of the year. What's your plan and expectation? After a few seconds of silence, Lin K answered, practice hard. After that, he walked past Xu Rui to the gate of the stadium. Xu Rui felt inexplicably sad. If Lin K had said, it's a secret, or I won't tell you, she could feel that he was in a good mood and could even make cold jokes. But now he must be in pain. Time flew. It had been more than a month since the game in May. Lu Cheng stood beside the lush trees and closed his eyes to visualize the thundercloud. He compressed his muscles and wriggled his abdomen to create a slight vibration to strengthen his internal organs. Gradually, he felt that his heart was beating more and more vigorously. Blood gushed out and flowed clearly to every organ in his body. Under his control, his heart slowed down quickly without any difficulty. So did the rest of his organs. This was the sign of martial arts training in the body. This was the sign of the peak of body refining. The next step was to integrate all the forces in his body and comprehend the meaning of withdraw. Lu Cheng opened his eyes. His chi was vigorous and fierce. He didn't squeeze the Jin Dan again to improve his supernatural ability because he felt that it would be contradictory to his comprehension of the meaning of withdraw. Many supernatural ability users couldn't reach the Dan stage because their supernatural ability was getting stronger and stronger. He was a martial artist and couldn't confuse his priorities. He would wait until he comprehended the meaning of withdraw, and then ask his master to help him awaken his supernatural ability. Besides, his master said that he had made some progress on the fire sect visualization. He might have a chance to get it next semester. Of course, this was a plan for the future. The most important thing now was, go home. Go back to Xiaofan. Go back to Xiaofan with Ku. In his mind, he visualized a big sun falling from the sky and crashing into a frozen river. Yin and Yang collided fiercely. Bam! He punched the tree in front of him and then withdrew his hand. He turned around and left without even looking at it. As he left, leaves suddenly fell from the tree that seemed to be motionless. The more they fell, the more yellow they became. It was as if winter had arrived. End of part 1. Chapter 222. Dusk had passed and the train was running fast. Yan Zheka couldn't bear the tiredness and fell asleep on her boyfriend's shoulder. Lu Cheng's right shoulder didn't move at all. His left hand gently reached out and skillfully grabbed the backpack on the side. Then he unzipped it, took out a jacket, and put it on Yan Zheka. For men, there was a kind of coldness called, your girlfriend may feel cold. But high-speed trains were always hot in winter and cold in summer. Considering his girlfriend's travel habits, Lu Cheng didn't want her to travel for several hours, so he proposed to take a plane home. But Yan Zheka refused and even calculated the time for him. It took about 50 minutes to get to the airport from the new campus of Songqing University, which was about the same as the train station. At the airport, they had to get the boarding pass and go through the security check, which took about an hour. Even if the plane took off on time, it would take at least 2 hours. Besides, the destination was Xiaofan, the provincial capital, and they had to transfer to Xiaofan by train. All in all, it would take at least 5 hours. But the high-speed train from Songqing to Xiaofan would only take 6 hours from the new campus, so they didn't have to make so many transfers. Lu Cheng chose a train that could run at night to preserve the taste of the food when he went back to school. Of course, it was not as fast as the high-speed train. The scenery outside the window kept passing by. Lu Cheng was a little excited and a little melancholy. He was excited because he missed home, his parents, and everything in Xiaofan. He was melancholy because he couldn't be with Yan Zheka every day after returning to Xiaofan. She went to Jiangnan during the winter vacation, which meant she hadn't seen her relatives and friends here for almost a year. She would have to go to all kinds of parties. More importantly, she would have to spend time with her parents, so she couldn't be as free as she was in school. Fortunately, they had agreed to exercise together every morning. While Lu Cheng was thinking, the speed of the high-speed train started to slow down, and the announcement of arrival came from the radio. Xiaofan ahead. Yan Zheka's long eyelashes trembled, and her eyes opened slowly. Her face was full of confusion, as if she had just woken up. Where are we? We'll be there soon. Lu Cheng put his left hand into his trouser pocket and took out a pack of tissue. Yan Zheka woke up. Ah! She blushed and let her boyfriend wipe the corners of her mouth. She was drooling again. Your t-shirt. She turned her eyes and saw the wet stains on Lu Cheng's clothes. She couldn't help but smile, but she was a little proud. Lu was about to tease her when he heard the cheerful ringtone of the girl's cell phone. Empress, Empress. Yan Zheka shrank her neck when she saw the caller ID. She answered the call. Hello, Mom. I'll be there in a few minutes. Bye. The train. Bye. Poor me, no one picked me up. Lu Cheng listened quietly and made a self-deprecating remark with a smile. Calm. That's right. Poor Cheng. I'll pick you up in the future. Yan Zheka answered with a smile and helped him tidy up his collar. Lu Cheng stood up with a smile on his face. With one hand in each hand, he took down the girl's trolley box and big backpack. His effortless and steady manner attracted the attention of the passengers around him. This boy is neither tall nor strong, but he is strong. Carrying 2 bags, dragging the suitcase, and holding Yan Zheka's hand, Lu Cheng went through the door, got off the platform, passed the gate, and arrived at the hall. Yan Zheka stopped and said with melancholy, Give me the luggage. After helping her carry her luggage, Lu Cheng waved his hand. Holding back his reluctance, he smiled and said, See you tomorrow. See you tomorrow. Yan Zheka pursed her lips and smiled. Although they had agreed to exercise together every morning, Lu Cheng felt that Empress Dowager would make some trouble. She dragged the suitcase and walked a few steps. Then she stopped and looked back at Lu Cheng. After a few seconds of hesitation, she waved her hand, turned around, and walked quickly out of the hall. Lu Cheng sighed and stood there. He planned to wait for a while before going out. He didn't want to meet Empress Dowager. After more than a minute, his cell phone beeped. Yan Zheka said, I've met up with Empress Dowager. You should go home soon. Don't worry. The bus here doesn't stop until 9. Lu Cheng replied as he walked out of the station with the luggage. Yan Zheka put on an obedient expression and said, Actually, I wanted to give you a goodbye kiss just now. For the shy Yan Zheka, it's just a thought, right? Lu Cheng said with a smirk. Hey, you know me very well. Yan Zheka replied, humming a little song. After chatting for a while, Yan Zheka's reply slowed down. Apparently, she was talking to her parents. Lu Cheng put the phone in his pocket and sped up to catch the nearest bus. He went straight to the back door with the yin-yang stance and took out his cell phone. It was almost 8 o'clock. He didn't ask his mother to leave him dinner. He had to find something to eat. As for how to find it, He was back in Xiaofan. He didn't need to worry about being unfamiliar with the place. Lu Cheng found Qin Rui's number in his contact list and called him directly to see if his old classmate was free. He wanted to thank him face-to-face for helping his cousin's boyfriend enter Gushan martial arts school. Secondly, he wanted to ask about his summer job. "Hello, Cheng. You're on holiday? You're back?" Qin Rui asked happily on the other side of the phone. Lu Cheng laughed. "Yeah. I just got back to Xiaofan and didn't leave any food at home. I'm going to eat something outside before going back. Are you free? Let's meet up?" "Sure. Where do you want to meet?" "There's a new crayfish restaurant near Peace Bridge. It's pretty good. You can try it." Qin Rui agreed without hesitation, although he had just had dinner at 6:30. After Dai Linfeng and other brothers witnessed their classmate Lu Cheng kill a professional ninth pin fighter, his status in the martial arts school had unknowingly risen and he had received the respect he had never enjoyed before. This made him, who had been out of school for a year, deeply understand the fickleness of human nature and how to manage one's own network. Without a doubt, Lu Cheng was definitely a classmate worth keeping a good relationship with. Lu Cheng smiled and said, "Let's go there next time. Guys like us who come back only once in half a year always want to eat something familiar. How about Old Lu Barbecue? Let's meet at Old Lu Barbecue." Okay. Qin Rui paused and said, "Your cousin is playing in the martial arts school. Do you want her and Ding to go there too?" Ding Yanba had been in the Gushan martial arts school for almost a month. Qin Rui naturally knew that he was not a child of Lu Cheng's relatives, but a relative's child's boyfriend. "Fei Fei? She's in Xiaofan?" Lu Cheng asked in surprise. "When did Qi Yunfei come to Xiaofan from Ningxue? Aunt doesn't care about her?" Qi Yunfei performed well in the middle school entrance exam in June and failed to get into Xiaofan No. 1 middle school and Ningxue No. 2 middle school. Fortunately, the difference between the scores was not big. Aunt Qi Yan made up her mind and spent a lot of money to send her to Xiaofan No. 1 middle school. "Yeah. She said she'll stay at your house these days." Qin Rui answered with a smile. "She's staying at my house? Then I can only sleep on the sofa?" Lu Cheng didn't expect that he would be the director on the first day he came back. He was annoyed and amused at the same time. "Okay. You can ask them to come over. I'll see what that guy looks like." He also wanted to warn Fei Fei to know her limits and not to delay her studies. When Lu Cheng arrived at the Old Lu Barbecue restaurant with his luggage, Qi Yunfei and her boyfriend were already waiting there. Qin Rui left from his house and would arrive in a few minutes. Qi Yunfei was dressed up like a popular little girl. She waved her hand and said, Brother Lu Cheng, here, here." Lu Cheng walked over with a smile and glanced at the boy named Ding Yanba from the corner of his eyes. He found that he was more than 1.8 meters tall, which formed a cute contrast with the petite Qi Yunfei. His appearance was not outstanding, but it could be said that he looked decent without any hostility. Between his eyebrows, there was a vigorous vitality unique to his age. "You're amazing. You came to Xiaofan without a word." Lu Cheng came in front of them and teased them while putting his backpack. Qi Yunfei smiled proudly. "What do you mean by without a word?" "I told my mom that I'll come to your house to play for a week." As for her sister Chen Xiaoxiao, she was still in class. After that, Qi Yunfei pulled Ding Yanba and urged, "Call me Brother Lu Cheng." Ding Yanba had no choice but to say shyly and embarrassedly, "Brother Lu Cheng." "Sit down." Lu Cheng pointed to the chair and asked casually, "You've been in the martial arts club for almost a month, right? How do you feel? Can you adapt?" As soon as he said this, he wanted to laugh. If Yan Zheka was here, she would probably be trembling. Since when did Cheng become so old-fashioned? Sure enough, it was very different to appear as a brother. Ding Yanba answered cautiously, "It's okay. I'm a little tired, but I feel that I've learned a lot. Brother Rui is a serious person, but he is very good to us and does his best." "That's not what you said before." Qi Yunfei interrupted with a smile. "You said that Brother Rui always had a straight face and didn't show any mercy. How long has it been, and you've changed your position?" Ding Yanba scratched his chin and said embarrassedly, "I understand now. Brother Rui is good for us." "It's good to be strict," Lu Cheng affirmed. Qi Yunfei pouted. "Brother Lu Cheng, You don't know how much he has changed during this time. Brother Rue this and Brother Rue that. He's almost like a follower. I'm learning martial arts better. Ding Yanbar explained. You don't know how powerful Brother Rue is. He ranks among the top of the younger generation in Xiaofan. You know that guy from Ningxue? He's so powerful and good at fighting, but he was knocked down by Brother Rue with a kick and a slap. Guy. The guy who came to our school and beat people? Qi Yunfei asked with her eyes wide open. Yes, that's him. In front of Brother Rue. He's as obedient as a dog. Ding Yanba said with excitement and admiration. By the way, Brother Rue just passed the ranking event and got the certificate of amateur first pin. Qin Rue passed the amateur ranking event in June? Lu Cheng nodded with relief. At this moment, he found Qin Rue's arrival in advance with his keen senses. He waved his hand and shouted loudly, Qin Rue over here! Ding Yanba and Qi Yunfei followed the sound and saw Qin Rue, who was more than 190 centimeters tall, striding over like half of an iron tower. They hurriedly stood up and shouted cautiously and reverently, Brother Rue! Qin Rue smiled and was about to speak when he suddenly found Lu Cheng's qi was vigorous to the extreme, which naturally formed a fierce and powerful feeling. He sat there quietly, but seemed to be taller than himself. Is this the peak of the body refining stage? He was stunned and smiled with half bitterness and half surprise. Chung, I almost couldn't help but call Brother Lu. Chapter 223. Brother Lu? Brother Rue actually called Lu Cheng Brother Lu Brother Lu? Qi Yunfei blinked her eyes and felt a little confused. That's not right. But maybe they were classmates and liked to tease each other? Yes, it must be so. Ding Yanba next to her was also in a daze. He had been in Gushan martial arts school for nearly a month, but he had never seen Brother Rue call others brother. He and cousin Fei Fei were so close that they could even joke like this? What, Brother Lu? It's so unpleasant. It makes me feel old. Lu Cheng smiled and took the cup. He lifted the pot of buckwheat tea on the table and poured 2.5 cups. I heard you got the certificate of amateur first pin? You know I don't drink, so I'll toast you with tea. Congratulations. Qin Rue immediately sat down, took the cup, and clinked it with Lu Cheng's. He raised his head and drank it. He wiped his mouth and smiled brightly. What's there to congratulate? I can't compare with you. My size and strength are all here. As long as I practice diligently enough and proficiently enough and learn something real, amateur first pin is still relatively simple. Alas, it'll be more difficult in the future. Can't compare with you? Qi Yunfei was confused again, and then she found a reason on her own. Brother Rue must mean that amateur first pin couldn't compare with Songqing University's certificate. Ding Yanba, on the other hand, was dumbfounded. Wasn't Brother Rue known for his serious face? Only in front of senior brother Dai and others, his expression was normal. But now he was smiling so softly, so sincerely, so from the bottom of his heart. Was this the other side of him? It was not like the Brother Rue he knew. Were they close friends? Facing Qin Rue's exclamation, Lu Cheng replied jokingly, Don't be modest, don't fake it. You don't know how many people want to be of amateur first pin but can't get it. In the future, you'll find a way. I'm serious. At the end of April, I thought that you might have gotten the certificate, so I searched online. Damn, I was scared to death. I was so scared that I didn't dare to call to congratulate you. I feel like we're not in the same world anymore. Qin Rue sighed and said with a smile. How long has it been since then? In the blink of an eye. You've exceeded my expectations again. Listening to Qin Rue's rambling, Ding Yanba rubbed his eyes, suspecting that he had recognized the wrong person. Is this Brother Rue? When did Brother Rue start acting like a 30 or 40-year-old drunkard who likes to nag? He hadn't even drunk it yet? How could he be drunk? While he was looking left and right, Qi Yunfei pulled his clothes and winked at him. Then she said loudly, They are so busy. No one came to greet them. I'll go and order. Brother Lu Cheng, Brother Rue, what do you want to eat? What would you like to drink? 10 skewers of chicken wings, 10 skewers of chicken tips. Lu Cheng followed his usual menu and ordered. The main dish is eggplant. I'll start with 6. Qin Rui, what else do you want? Qin Rui shook his head. I only finished eating at 7 p.m. I don't have much of an appetite. I'll just eat a little. Give me a can of coconut juice. I've also quit drinking. Haha, good job. Lu Cheng turned to look at Qi Yunfei. I want another can of herbal tea. You can take care of the rest. Okay, Qi Yunfei took Ding Yanba to the barbecue rack. While waiting for the order, she lowered her voice and scolded, Liar! What liar? Ding Yanba was confused by the scolding. You said Brother Rui was very cool and serious. Qi Yunfei glanced at her boyfriend. Why can't I see it today? He's smiling like a flower. He's so kind and brilliant. Ding Yanba scratched his chin and smiled bitterly. I don't understand. Maybe he has a good relationship with your brother. Feifei, you said your brother is also practicing martial arts, and he's very good. Brother Rui just said that we can search for him on the internet? How do I know? I haven't searched for him. Qi Yunfei was also full of curiosity and urged him. You should search for him quickly. Okay. Ding Yanba took out his mobile phone, opened the web application and entered Lu Cheng's name. After thinking about it, he felt that it might not be safe. He asked again, Is your brother from Songqing University? Yes, I've told you many times. Qi Yunfei said angrily. With Lu Cheng, Songqing University as the keyword, Ding Yanba clicked on the search and refreshed the page. At the top was the encyclopedia introduction. Hey, someone even edited the encyclopedia for your brother. Ding Yanba clicked on it excitedly and glanced at the editors. He found that they were Eternal Nightfall, Brahmin, and Unparalleled Dragon King. Name, Lu Cheng. Age, 19. Height, 1.75, 1.77. Weight, unknown. School, Songqing University. Rank, Professional 9th Pin. When he saw the words, Professional 9th Pin, Ding Yanba's heart trembled and his wrist shook. He almost threw his mobile phone away. Professional 9th Pin? There was no professional 9th Pin in the whole Xiaofan martial arts circle. No, the encyclopedia can be edited by anyone. It's not very reliable. Ding Yanba scrolled down the page and saw many photos. He was sure that Lu Cheng was his girlfriend's cousin. At the same time, he also found many links, including fan forums and competition videos. Videos can't lie, right? You can tell at a glance whether it's a special effect or not. Ding Yanba clicked on one and quickly dragged the progress bar. Bang! His phone fell to the ground and hit the floor hard. What's wrong? Qi Yunfei saw her boyfriend's mouth was half open and scared out of his wits. She hurriedly asked. Ding Yanba shuddered and subconsciously bent down to pick up the phone. It was as if the broken bricks and unreasonable arms were still flashing in front of his eyes. He felt as if his soul was being hammered by those unreasonable arms. Too terrible. Too terrible. Is this really Feifei's cousin? What's wrong? Qi Yunfei saw that her boyfriend didn't answer and said more seriously. Ding Yanba handed the mobile phone to her absent-mindedly. You see it yourself. See what? Qi Yunfei's baby fat face was full of suspicion. She took the mobile phone and pressed play again. She kept scrolling. Bang! The poor mobile phone fell to the ground again and broke the tempered film on the surface. Qi Yunfei's mouth was slightly open and her eyes were full of confusion. For her, the shock she received was many times stronger than Ding Yanba. After all, he was her cousin who she often chatted with and often met during the holidays. She took a breath and said with confused eyes, I may have met a fake brother. The two looked at each other and were both dumbfounded until it was their turn to order. After ordering the skewers and taking coconut juice and herbal tea, the two children returned to their seats in silence. They heard Lu Cheng telling Qin Rui how to improve from amateur first pin to professional 9th pin. It's best to be able to meditate. This can save you years or even more of body refining time. Lu Cheng imitated his master's tone. Think about it. You can only do visualization when you can conceal spirit and qi. All the internal training methods need to be coordinated with visualization. If you don't do this, it will be very hard to rely on the accumulation of tempering over time. Internal training methods were the core of the body refining state. The higher the level, the more it could help the practitioner to quickly reach the physical quality of professional ninth pin and even to the peak of the body refining state. But good, internal training methods were inherited and not common martial arts clubs could have them. Qin Rui nodded thoughtfully. I understand. Without supernatural ability, meditation is the foundation for martial arts to continue to move forward. Speaking of this, he smiled bitterly. But our martial arts club doesn't have internal training methods. This was not an ordinary stance. There will be a way. As long as you can meditate, there will always be a way to get internal training methods. For example, the prize of the preliminaries or the Martial Arts Association, or the ones circulating on the market. Lu Cheng comforted Qin Rui. The Martial Arts Association was often abbreviated as the Martial Arts Association to show its closeness to the people. Qi Yunfei, who came back with the drinks, sat in silence, looking like a quiet, cute, and well-behaved girl. Her eyes kept wandering between Lu Cheng and Qin Rui. She saw that although her cousin's facial features didn't change, the overall outline was more angular, masculine, and handsome. She didn't look carefully before, but now that she looked at him, brother Lu Cheng seemed to have become more handsome and elegant. Lu Cheng felt Qi Yunfei's gaze. He touched his face and said with a little worry, Is there something on my face? Did Ka leave a mark of lip balm on my face again? No. Qi Yunfei sat upright, more honest than in front of her mother. Ding Yanba was a little scared, not daring to look or speak. Lu Cheng took the drink, opened it for Qin Rui and handed it over. He laughed and said, Here to you again. Ding Yanba, I'm sorry to trouble you. He didn't know how to call his cousin's boyfriend. What are you talking about? I told you I wouldn't bother. Qin Rui clinked his can with Lu Cheng and took a sip with a smile. Qi Yunfei rolled her eyes and pulled Ding Yanba, who was confused, and urged, Didn't you say you wanted to toast brother Lu Cheng? Didn't you want to say thank you to him? What? Ding Yanba subconsciously wanted to refute, but his little girlfriend stared at him, so he nervously picked up the soy milk bottle and said, Brother Lu Cheng, thank you for your help. Lu Cheng clinked with him and took a sip. When he was about to speak, Qin Rui interrupted, Ding, it's your luck to know Cheng. He can teach you a thing or two, and you'll be much better than us. Practice martial arts well. Don't waste his good intentions. Yes, brother Rui. Ding Yanba was not a fool. He understood Qin Rui's good intentions and quickly said to Lu Cheng, Brother Lu Cheng, I'll toast you again. This time, he gulped down the entire bottle of soy milk. Practice martial arts hard. Don't let Fei Fei worry. Lu Cheng smiled and said as a brother. Then he followed the topic and asked, Qin Rui, is your martial arts club recruiting part-time instructors? Qin Rui was stunned at first, then laughed and said, Of course. We're just worried that we don't have enough people. Do you want to come? I have nothing to do because I'm on holiday. Practicing martial arts will cost a lot of money. Well, I don't want to trouble my family, so I want to find a part-time job to practice martial arts. Lu Cheng said frankly. Good. We can't wait to have a master like you part-time. Qin Rui was pleasantly surprised. You don't know, but every summer, many middle and high school students are sent here by their parents to practice martial arts for 2 months. They don't want anything but to strengthen their bodies. Haha, we have 10 to 20 summer classes every year. It's very relaxing. They don't want to be ranked, they just want to train. Chapter 224. This kind of class? Can't you just find a student with a fixed rank? What's there to worry about? Lu Cheng's stomach was rumbling, and the barbecue was not ready yet. Qin Rui laughed and said, You don't understand, do you? Our summer classes are held 3 times a week for half a day each time. Different classes are arranged on a staggered basis. There are several levels of tuition fees. Randomly finding a student with a fixed rank to teach us is the lowest level. It costs 888 yuan for 2 months. Among the more powerful students, it costs 1,288 yuan. For inner disciples like us, it costs 2,088 yuan. Nominally, we are learning from my master. Not only is the fee, but we also need to have connections and background. That works. Lu Cheng listened with great interest. The only discomfort was that his stomach was burning. Although he was more mature than when he first entered the university, he was still in touch with monotonous social classes. There were many things that he did not understand. Qin Rui gently patted the table and said, "You don't believe me. In the beginning, we didn't want to divide the classes so carefully. But some parents were dissatisfied. Oh, how can my child practice with so many people? What can I learn? What if I can't take care of him? What if he bumps into something? Do you have a better class here? Fewer students, more powerful teachers, and money is not a problem." He said the last few words with a pinched throat. He imitated it vividly. Qi Yunfei and Ding Yanba, who were like two little quails, couldn't help but laugh. The latter never thought that Brother Rui had such a side. The heart of comparison is the source of human progress. Lu Cheng faked a famous quote. He sniffed and smelled the barbecue aroma. Qin Rui took a sip of coconut milk and said, "College students are good at talking. Who doesn't have the heart of comparison? If you come here part-time, your class will definitely be the highest level. And believe it or not, you can definitely line up if you want to sign up. This is a rare professional ninth pin in Xiaofan." Before he could finish his sentence, Lu Cheng humorously added two more words. Life. Puff. Qi Yunfei almost spat out the soy milk she just drank. Qin Rui laughed a few times and caught his breath. "You're a living advertisement. The other dojos can only stare at you helplessly. We definitely want you to come. You don't have to advertise me too much, do you?" In this aspect, Lu Cheng's face was still relatively thin. "All right, if you like to keep a low profile, then keep a low profile." Qin Rui said frankly, "I can't decide how to do it. I'll ask my master tomorrow, and I'll call you then." He wasn't the dojo master, so he couldn't promise a certain amount of salary or bonus right now. "Okay, sorry to trouble you." Lu Cheng thanked him sincerely. At this time, he finally saw the first batch of barbecued meat being delivered. After that, he replied to Yan Zheka's messages and chatted with Qin Rui about the recent situation of his high school classmates and the anecdotes of the martial arts circle in Xiaoshan. When he was full, it was almost 9:30 p.m. After paying the bill and saying goodbye, Lu Cheng glanced at his cousin. "Fei Fei, it's getting late. Why don't you follow me back?" "Okay." Qi Yunfei nodded briskly. Lu Cheng was surprised that she was so honest. He thought that she would dawdle and say a few words of resistance. Since when did the little devil become so easy to talk to? He didn't show his doubts and led the little girl to say goodbye to Qin Rui and Ding Yanba. They stopped a taxi and went straight to their own community. In the car, Qi Yunfei maintained a quiet and silent attitude, which surprised Lu Cheng and made him wonder what happened to her. She was so lively and cheerful just now. "Fei Fei, what's wrong with you? You don't seem to be in a good mood." Lu Cheng looked at the taxi driver in front and asked with concern. Qi Yunfei seemed to wake up from a dream and said, "I'm a little sleepy after playing all day." "I'm sleepy too. I didn't take a nap." Lu Cheng covered his mouth with his hand and yawned. He smelled the strong smell of barbecued meat. After entering the community and returning home, he saw his mother, Qi Fong, as soon as he opened the door. "You little bastard, why are you back so late? Where did you go?" Why did you two come back together?" Lu Cheng smiled and said, "We met on the road." "Mom, why didn't you tell me Fei Fei was here when I called you today?" Qi Fong laughed and said, "I was too busy and forgot." She sniffed and said, "You smell like barbecued meat. You came back so late just to eat barbecued meat? Let me tell you, this kind of food is unhygienic. Who knows if the meat they use is good or bad? You should eat less." The familiar nagging and concern made Lu Cheng unable to muster the slightest desire to talk back. He answered perfunctorily, "Okay, okay, okay." Qi Fong said for a while and suddenly patted her head and said, "Oh, I almost forgot to tell you. Cheng, you sleep in the living room tonight. Give the room to your sister." "Mom, is she my biological sister? It's my first day back." Lu Cheng joked. Qi Fong walked back to the sofa and sat next to Lu Jisheng. She laughed and said, "Only biological sisters dare to do that. Hey, Mom is getting sexier." Lu Cheng laughed secretly and didn't hurry to pack up. He sat on the single sofa and planned to chat with his parents for a while. Qi Yunfei greeted him and went into the room. She found a change of clothes and went straight to the bathroom to take a shower. Lu Jisheng pushed his gold-rimmed glasses and looked at Lu Cheng with a smile. Good. You are in good spirits. Practicing martial arts is very useful. Hearing this, Qi Feng came to her senses. She took a breath and carefully looked at her baby son. In the end, she said with a smile, if your dad didn't say it, I would have missed it. I was just looking at whether you lost weight or not. Good spirits, good spirits. Much smoother than your dad when he was young. Smoother was a Xiaofan dialect, which meant handsome. Why are you talking about me again? Lu Jisheng complained. He took a sip of tea and pondered for more than 10 seconds. Cheng, is the cost of practicing martial arts very high? If you are short of money, although we are not very rich, we still have some savings. Lu Cheng didn't expect his dad to ask about this. He was a little confused and subconsciously asked, Dad, why do you suddenly ask this? From the peak of body refining stage to the dance stage, he would need the help of medicinal decoctions and other things in order to train his martial arts to the finest detail. It was indeed a huge expense, but he had already made plans. Not only had he circled a provincial youth tournament at the end of July and the beginning of August, he had also planned to work part-time at the Gushan Martial Arts School. Together with the more than 20,000 yuan he had left from before, it should be enough. Lu Jisheng smiled bitterly. Your dad has been a blockhead all his life. He only cares about his own things and doesn't care much about other things. After knowing that you are going to walk the path of martial arts, he wanted to do some research but found that he was useless. He didn't know anything. He could only watch TV and ask the young people in our factory. They all said that there is a threshold from professional 9th pin to professional 8th pin and it will cost a lot of money. I thought that since you called your mom to tell her that you got the professional 9th pin certificate, you should have reached this threshold, right? Lu Cheng had noticed that his parents didn't ask him much about martial arts, so he thought that his family didn't oppose or support his practice of martial arts. Who would have thought that they had been quietly concerned about him, asking about him, and preparing for him? That kind of love was silent without complaint or regret. Phew. He exhaled and forced a smile. Dad, Mom, don't worry. Didn't I get the prize money from the tournament? I will also work part-time in the martial arts school during the summer vacation. This should be enough for my expenses. If not, I will ask you for more. It was hard enough for his parents to pay for his tuition and living expenses. Keep that little money for yourself. Don't be too thrifty. You will be looked down upon by your roommates and classmates. Qi Feng interrupted. What do you mean by that little money? Lu Cheng couldn't help but laugh. I still have more than 20,000 in my card. He only told his mom that there would be a bonus for the preliminaries but didn't specify how much. Qi Feng naturally thought that it was a small amount of 800 to 1,000. More than 20,000? Qi Feng opened her eyes wide and Lu Jisheng couldn't help but push his glasses. Damn, I accidentally exposed the amount of my private savings. Lu Cheng quickly smiled and said, That's right. With your son's current ability, it's very easy for him to earn a few thousand yuan. You should save your money and strive for a bigger house. I can't sleep in the living room every time my cousin comes, right? Qi Feng laughed so hard that her eyes could not be seen. Look at what you're saying. Aya, this child is capable. Lu Jisheng took another sip of tea and heaved a long sigh. Your mom was right. You are indeed more capable than I was when I was young. Lu Cheng smiled slightly. This is called the student surpassing the master. His words made the old couple laugh, and the topic changed from martial arts to the past. Qi Yunfei, while drying her medium-length hair, slipped into the room, turned on her tablet, and seriously watched the content that she had searched before she took a shower. Lu Cheng's fighting videos. After watching a video, she couldn't help but look back, as if she couldn't believe that the protagonist in the ring was in the living room. She couldn't believe that that was her own brother. In the living room, Lu Jisheng and Qi Feng knew that their son had to get up early every day to train, so they washed up and went back to their room after 10 o'clock. Lu Cheng took out a change of boxers and planned to take a shower and sleep. He just walked 2 steps and remembered that he still had a little cousin at home. He turned back and opened his backpack, taking out the pajamas that Yan Zheka gave him. He couldn't run around in boxers in front of a 15 or 16-year-old girl. Could he? He was old and still needed to know how to avoid suspicion. Hee. Could definitely didn't expect that the pajamas she gave him would come in handy at this time. While his thoughts were running wild, he suddenly heard his bedroom door open with a creak. Chi Yunfei stood by the door with a red face and shouted with a smile, "Brother Lu Cheng." "What?" Lu Cheng looked at her with a blank face. "Nothing, just calling you." Chi Yunfei closed the door with a bang, feeling very happy. "Haha, I have a super powerful brother." Chapter 225. Are you crazy? Lu Cheng was stunned. The corner of his mouth twitched, and he couldn't help but laugh and curse. His head was full of fog. Is this the so-called generation gap? He felt that he couldn't understand what a little girl like Feifei was thinking. He shook his head and put the matter behind him. He went into the bathroom and finished washing up. Back in the living room, he turned off the light and lay on the sofa. He covered himself with a thin quilt and picked up his phone out of habit. He entered the chat mode with Yan Zheka and felt peaceful and happy, like the moonlight shining in through the window. Poor me, sleeping in the living room on my first day back home. Lu Cheng used the pitiful emoji that his girlfriend liked. One is marked by one's company. Hee hee, I'm rolling on the big bed that I haven't seen for a long time. Yan Zheka replied with a snickering emoji. Lu Cheng threw the table emoji and said, "You don't even comfort me." Okay, I'll give you a hug and let you sleep on the bed next time." Yan Zheka liked to call herself sister in front of Lu Cheng, although in fact she was almost a year younger. "Sleep on the bed? Do you have a sister with you?" Lu Cheng took advantage of the opportunity and teased her with a smirk. Yan Zheka sent a scolding emoji and said, "Bah, I won't sleep with a big pervert. And just now you provoked me with the picture of roasted eggplant. Isn't this to tempt you? To tempt you to eat with me one day?" Lu Cheng replied with a smile. Yan Zheka sent an emoji rubbing its chin and rolling its eyes and said, "What if I want to eat now? I'll go and roast one and send it to you?" Lu Cheng tried to suggest. "Forget it, Empress Dowager and my dad are both at home. Wouldn't you be sending a lamb to the tiger's mouth? Besides, it's already 10 o'clock, you should go to bed. You have to get up early tomorrow to train and enter the dance stage as soon as possible. This is the most important thing, understand?" Yan Zheka lay on the belly of the big hairy bear and couldn't stop smiling. "Understood. Rest assured, Coach Yan." Lu Cheng replied half jokingly and half seriously. Before he reached the peak of body refining, his brother-in-law had already entered the dance stage and got the certificate of professional 8th pin. Not to mention Pang Leyun, the big devil, there was still a target in front of him to catch up with. Cheng, speaking of morning training, I have a piece of good news and a piece of bad news. Which one do you want to hear first?" Yan Zheka sent him an emoji of sitting blankly. "Bad news. We can't train together tomorrow?" Lu Cheng asked sharply. Yan Zheka replied, "Yes, and not only tomorrow. Empress Dowager said that she has put weight on and wants to train. She wants me to train with her mother and daughter. We can train together." Not only that, but he also had to hold back his disappointment and comfort the girl. Empress Dowager is so busy. She won't be able to hold on for long. Besides, she and your dad have to go to work. You're not a child anymore. You can't be locked up at home. We have plenty of time to date. Cheng, I thought you would be disappointed. Yan Zheka sat up straight and nodded. Cheng, I thought you would be disappointed. Of course I am. I feel that the beautiful morning I have been looking forward to is not beautiful. But it can't be helped. She is your mother after all. Lu Cheng replied honestly. Then he added, "You should eat less breakfast tomorrow." Yan Zheka's dimples appeared and her eyes were gentle because of his previous words. She suddenly saw this strange sentence and asked, "Why?" "It's a secret." Lu Cheng would not tell her that he wanted to send her breakfast, the zongzi she had been dreaming about for a long time. "Secret? You want me to eat less breakfast, so you want to send me something to eat, right? What kind of breakfast do I want to eat in Xiaofan?" Yan Zheka sent a "there is only one truth" emoji. "Well, you want to send me that zongzi?" Lu Cheng replied. "You are so smart. You guessed it so quickly. Where is the promised surprise?" Hey, I am a famous detective. Yen Zheka, who was wearing a white nightgown, held her phone and rolled on the bed. Her mouth was slightly closed and her eyes were slightly curved. Her smile was very obvious. She only felt that this smart compliment made her so happy. It was even better than the surprise of sending a zongzi for breakfast. This was not only the reflection of the reasoning ability, but also the understanding and tacit understanding between the two parties. After laughing for more than 10 seconds, she said, "But my dad is going to make breakfast for me tomorrow. I haven't tasted his cooking for almost a year. I have to go to my grandpa's house tomorrow night and accompany my grandpa the day after tomorrow. So I can only do it the day after tomorrow." As she spoke, she felt a little guilty and wanted to make up for it. "Okay, then the day after tomorrow morning." Lu Cheng exhaled. Sure enough, he could not be with Ku every day. Yen Zheka replied, "I will come to see you when I am free." "I can also go to see you." Lu Cheng adjusted his mood and said with a snicker, "By the way, what is the good news?" "Good news?" Yen Zheka chuckled and leaned on the pillow. She rolled her eyes and a faint blush appeared on her cheeks. She bit her lower lip with her pearly white teeth and slowly typed on the keyboard on the screen. "The good news is, Cheng, I am starting to miss you." Lu Cheng's heart was hit and became unusually soft. He smiled faintly and replied, "I'm sorry. I miss our cuckoo too." At this moment, he only felt that the moonlight was peaceful and the night was gentle. Time flew by and it was already 10:30 p.m. Lu Cheng said goodnight to Yen Zheka and posted the picture he had taken at the barbecue on Weibo, along with the caption, "First meal back in Xiaofan." He did not like to do these things. He only updated once every 10 days or half a month. After posting, he logged out of QQ and put his phone aside. He enjoyed the peace of the night and the affection shown by Yen Zheka just now and fell asleep contentedly. The next morning, he woke up naturally and quietly finished washing up. After changing into the navy blue martial arts suit, he unlocked his phone screen and logged into QQ again. He sent a message to Yen Zheka with a laughing emoji. "The handsome one is up. The beautiful one is sitting on the bed." Yen Zheka replied with an emoji with circles in its eyes. After chatting for a while, Yen Zheka struggled to get out of bed. Lu Cheng glanced at the replies he had received yesterday. Fatty Jiang was the first one. "Cheng, you are not at home on your first day back in Xiaoshan? Or are you not at home again? Hehe, I am on the train today and will arrive in the evening. Remember to treat me to dinner. A man with a girlfriend must treat to a big meal." Lu Cheng was about to reply to him and say something like, "A fat man shouldn't think about a big meal." But he saw other replies from the corner of his eyes. Cheng Chili replied with a shocked emoji. "What? Cheng, you have a girlfriend?" Qin Rue replied with a shocked emoji. "Cheng, when did you have a girlfriend? Is she your college classmate?" Zhou Hailin replied with a laughing emoji. "I didn't expect you to solve the problem of being single in your first year in college." Chao Lei, who was sitting at the same table, replied with a smile. "I didn't expect it either. This is not the Lu Cheng I know. When will you show us what your girlfriend looks like?" "Damn, brother Lu, a barking dog doesn't bite, right? I am still single." Tao Xiaofei jeered behind them. Lu Cheng was in a daze. There was only one thought echoing in his mind. Damn it, Fatty Jiang is such a big mouth. After a round of training, Lu Cheng consolidated the realm of the peak of body refining. He recalled the conversation with his master before leaving school. The meaning of withdraw must be understood through the process of integrating the strength of the whole body into one. Otherwise, it will be a rootless tree without a source of water. This is why you can't practice it in advance until you reach the peak of body refining. Geezer Shi said as he drank a mouthful of wine happily. Lu Cheng was surprised and blurted out, "Master, you use the word so well. So cultured." Geezer Shi smiled proudly and said, "That's what my master told me." "Hey, little brat, can't you grasp the key point? Don't think that the dance stage is easy just because you've mastered meditation and can look inward. After all, this is the first threshold on the road of martial arts." I won't say more. I'll just give you 10 words. Human body Big Dan, round and bright. Next you have to figure it out by yourself. If you can't figure it out, you can ask me again. That's it. Lu Cheng felt like he had a fake master. What else do you want? Everyone has their own characteristics and personality. It's not good to rely on your master to pull you along, unless you plan to never surpass your master for the rest of your life. Besides, don't you want to mix in the things of cultivation? I can't teach you everything. From now on, you have to learn to figure it out by yourself. Xiaofan said seriously. Anyway, you can call me if you have any questions. But don't expect me to explain everything to you. Yes, master. Wuxia nodded thoughtfully. A breeze blew. The morning at the end of June was not hot, but Wuxia just did the same training as before. He didn't add anything new because he hadn't bought the herbs to make the decoction. He hadn't tried to unify the strength of his whole body. When he finished training and returned home, he had breakfast. Ignoring Qi Yunfei, who slept until noon, he took the decoction list from his master and went straight to the best pharmacy in the city, Jishan Hall. Outside Jishan Hall, Wuxia was about to enter when he heard his phone ring. He took it out and saw that it was Qin Rui, so he chose to answer. Hello, Cheng. My master is very happy to hear that you want to work part-time. Qin Rui came straight to the point. He said there are 2 ways to work part-time and you can choose. Well, go ahead. Wuxia said happily. Qin Rui considered his tone and said, the first way is to advertise under your name and let you be the head instructor of the martial arts school for 2 months. You won't be paid, but you'll get 30% of the total profit from the summer school. Cheng, to tell you the truth, I'm shocked. I've never seen my master so generous before. You know, we usually have 20 summer school. After deducting the salary, utilities, equipment depreciation and venue wear and tear, the profit for 2 months is at least 1 million. More than 1 million? 30% means at least 300,000? It was the first time that Wuxia had seen such a large amount of money. He was a little confused and moved. 300,000. This is 300,000. It's enough to buy a house in Xiaofan, where the average price is 3,500 per square meter. Is there really such a good thing? Wuxia resisted the urge to agree and steadied his breathing. What's the second way? The second way, we won't advertise under your name. You'll lead a VIP class, the kind that my master is nominally leading. The tuition fee for 2 months is 5,088. There are 10 people in total. Their tuition fees will all be yours. As for equipment and venue, it doesn't matter. If you see anything wrong with our training, just give us a few pointers. Qin Rui said dutifully, besides, there's an individual coaching fee. You can earn it with your own ability. Whatever you can earn is yours. What's an individual coaching fee? Wuxia asked, not quite understanding. Think about it. Not including the VIP class, the other classes are at least 30 to 50. How can one coach teach them all? He can only teach and watch them as a whole, supervise them to train and correct them from time to time. For some students, this is not enough. They want to have a one-on-one coaching and correction. That way, the effect will be much better. But this requires additional money. For people like me, it's 300 per hour. Qin Rui said with a smile. As for you, we'll decide later. To be honest, I want to ask you to coach me for a few hours. Haha, you're free. Wuxia replied with a smile. Qin Rui continued, this kind of coaching fee, we have to share it with the martial arts school. You don't have to. The latter was obviously not as good as the former. After all, it was a small class of 10. One-on-one coaching was not very meaningful. Wuxia was very tempted by the bonus, but he was very clear that it was a bit too much for a professional 9th pin fighter. If there's something abnormal, there must be something wrong. I can't be blinded by greed. I'd better ask my master. The older the ginger, the wiser. Thinking of this, Wuxia smiled and said, Qin Rui, I'll think about it and give you an answer. Okay, I'll wait for your call. Qin Rui answered quickly. Chapter 226. Wuxia took a deep breath and shook his head, trying to calm himself down in the face of the temptation of money. After a few seconds, he found his master's phone number and dialed it. After a cheerful melody, Xiaofan's coughing voice penetrated the receiver. Hey Bratkov, you encountered a problem so soon? Master, no, it's not a problem with martial arts. It's something else. Wuxia explained first. Then tell me, what's the matter? Did you kill someone again? Xiaofan asked casually. Well, in your eyes, am I a homicidal maniac? Lu Cheng complained in his heart. He briefly explained his idea of making money by part-time jobs and the two choices of Gushan Martial Arts School. In the end he asked, Master, which one do you think I should choose? According to your heart, you want to choose the first one, right? With hundreds of thousands of yuan there, how can a student like you not be tempted? Xiaofan laughed. Lu Cheng sighed and answered, I'm tempted, but I feel a little guilty and a little scared. I'm not worth that much money. A normal part-time job of professional ninth pin is only worth about 10,000 yuan a month. Even if it's a scarce resource in Xiaofan, it's a bit exaggerated to double that amount, not to mention hundreds of thousands for 2 months. There's no such thing as a free lunch. The greater the profit, the greater the risk. At least you're sober. Xiaofan laughed. First, anyone with a discerning eye can see that your overall strength is considered to be in the small group in the body refining stage. Besides, you're still young and haven't practiced martial arts for a long time. You have a lot of potential, so you can't be treated as a normal ninth pin fighter. Of course, your salary and treatment will be different. Second, cough, that martial arts school's first choice is called binding. In the martial arts circle, as long as you agree to let them use your signboard, you have to bear the corresponding responsibility. If you're the kind of person who doesn't want to admit it, it's okay to take hundreds of thousands of yuan. But you're not. You dare to fight to death for an old friend. What's more, you're soft-hearted when you take advantage of others. Cough, when they meet a strong martial arts school, will you help them? If they get into trouble and ask you for help, will you help them? Are you going to hold them accountable for using your name to bully others? Humans, especially those in the martial world, live for their reputation. It's not that you can't do this kind of thing. Famous martial artists more or less have a similar income. Cough. But you have to polish your eyes and see clearly the other party's background and character before you make a decision. Otherwise, you might be dragged into the water one day and still not know what's going on. Now ask yourself, are you willing to live and die with that dojo for a few 100,000? Of course, this is an exaggeration. Just understand what this old man means. Lu Cheng asked himself silently. He thought for a while and said, I understand, Master. I know what to choose. The bigger the shoulders, the bigger the burden. Okay, I'll remind you again. Earning money is important, but the focus should still be on practicing martial arts. Once you improve your strength, you'll have plenty of opportunities to earn big bucks in the future. Xiaofan reminded him and hung up the phone. Lu Cheng calmed down for a few minutes. He didn't answer Qin Rui directly. Instead, he found Yan Zhika's phone number and dialed her. Yan Zhika sat at the table, drinking porridge cooked by her father and eating the refreshing dishes made at home. She chatted with Empress Dowager and others from time to time. She was very happy. At this moment, the phone beside her buzzed and vibrated continuously. She looked at it from the corner of her eyes and subconsciously smiled. Her eyebrows became more relaxed. She was a little happy, but also a little nervous and worried. I need to answer a call, she explained in a sweet voice. She picked up the phone and walked quickly to the living room. She answered the call and walked up the stairs. Hello, what's the matter? Yan Zhika tried to make her voice calm and rigid. Ji Mingyu looked at her daughter's back and sighed inwardly as she recalled her daughter's unconsciously gentle eyes and uncontrollable smile. Silly girl, who can you fool with this look? While thinking, she glanced at her husband who didn't realize it and couldn't help but spit. Only the rough men would be able to fool them. Humph, your little princess is about to be taken away, and you don't even realize it. Lu Cheng sensed something wrong in Yan Zhika's tone, so he smiled and said, Are your parents here? Yan Zhika went upstairs like a whirlwind and entered her room. She leaned against the door and said with a smile, No, they are not here. That's good. I have something to ask Coach Yan. Lu Cheng walked a few steps to the side so that he wouldn't block the door of Jishan Hall. Yan Zhika's sweet dimples appeared. She said with a smile, Go ahead. I'll give you some advice. Judging from Cheng's tone, it shouldn't be a bad thing. Didn't I say that I wanted to work part-time in the martial arts club? I asked Qin Rui for help. His master welcomes me very much. Lu Cheng told the whole thing to his girlfriend. Yan Zheka listened attentively with a smile on her face. She liked Lu Cheng's habit of discussing with her in advance. It made her feel a deep sense of participation and companionship. She also knew that Lu Cheng was not a person without his own opinion. On the contrary, he was very decisive at critical moments and could be relied on. I think Coach Shi is right. Cheng, you don't have to be so involved with the martial arts club in Xiaofan. Yan Zheka chose her words carefully. I heard from Uncle Xing and my mother that martial arts clubs in small places like Xiaoshan are more or less related to the underworld. It's easy for you to get involved with them. My father likes to read some ancient books. His favorite saying is that there are some things to do and some things not to do. Lu Cheng originally wanted to find out the background of Gushan Martial Arts Club through Yan Zheka. After hearing her words, he became more determined and no longer hesitated. Well, I'll listen to Coach Yan and choose the second option. My father-in-law seems to be very meaningful. Well, this is different from praising my master. Yan Zheka chuckled and was very satisfied. She asked, "Did you buy the herbs?" "In front of the pharmacy." Lu Cheng laughed. "Which pharmacy?" Yan Zheka rolled her eyes and asked with a smile. "Ji Shan Pharmacy. It's said to be the best pharmacy in Xiaoshan. The ingredients are all authentic." Lu Cheng was happy to chat with his girlfriend. Yan Zheka pursed her lips and smiled. "I can guarantee that. Don't you think it sounds familiar?" "Why does it sound familiar?" Lu Cheng was confused. Yan Zheka snorted. "Have you forgotten? Empress Dowager's surname is Ji. I only know that Empress Dowager is called Empress Dowager." Lu Cheng joked. "What a coincidence. I can't believe I'm in a pharmacy under Empress Dowager's name." Yan Zheka was afraid that Lu Cheng would feel inferior, so she quickly explained, "My father is a poor doctor. When Empress Dowager came to Xiaoshan, she had nothing to do, so she worked part-time as a private trainer and tried to start a business. After a long time of hard work, the company grew up little by little. When I was young, I lived in the family compound. It was much more lively than it is now. I met uncles and aunties on the street and everyone wanted to pinch my face. Haha, it's like my neighborhood." Lu Cheng had expected his girlfriend's family background. He didn't care about it now and smiled. "I thought you were sick when you were young. You didn't have any fat on your face." "I still have some baby fat." Yan Zheka answered shyly. She felt that her boyfriend didn't have any grudges and was still confident. When a couple in love started chatting, they could talk nonsense for a long time. When Ji Mingyu urged Yan Zheka to leave, she reluctantly said goodbye to Lu Cheng. She spent the morning with her parents and the afternoon with her grandfather in Jiangkai County, which was part of Xiaoshan. Lu Cheng held the hot phone and called Qin Rui back without hesitation. "Cheng, have you made up your mind?" Qin Rui asked happily. His classmate worked part-time in the martial arts club as a powerful professional ninth pin fighter, which made him look good in front of his seniors and juniors. "Yeah, I just called my master. He said that I haven't finished my apprenticeship yet, so I can't make my own name and carry my own signboard. You know, in the martial arts circle, we have to respect our masters." Lu Cheng pushed all the responsibility to his master. After saying this, he felt a little lost. 300,000 yuan. His dad worked hard for most of his life and didn't even save that much money. Forget it. In life, there are things to do and things not to do. Got it. Qin Rui agreed. "So you chose the VIP class? I'll tell my master now." "Hey, Cheng, you're so strong, but you still haven't finished your apprenticeship? Your master is so strict. You have to reach the Dan stage to finish your apprenticeship?" Thinking back, one could imagine how awesome Lu Cheng's master was. "Probably." Lu Cheng answered blankly. He didn't know when he would finish his apprenticeship. Dan stage? High-ranked Dan stage? Or even physical invulnerability? After waiting for a few minutes, Qin Rui called back and said with a smile, "My master said no problem. When are you free today? Can you come over and finalize this matter?" "Okay, I'll come over in an hour." Lu Cheng exhaled, relieved that the matter had been settled. He hung up the phone and entered the Jishan Hall. According to the weight of the 7 posts, he bought bags of herbs and spent more than 1,700 yuan. 1 week's worth of herbs will cost more than 1,700 yuan. In 2 months, it'll be 15,000. Lu Cheng did a rough calculation and was tongue-tied. He felt that the cost of breaking through to the Dan stage was not small. And this was under the premise that he could train his whole body's strength to be as one in 2 months. No wonder Ko always asked him to save the money. Because he wanted to keep the formula a secret, he didn't choose to ask the pharmacy to brew it for him. Carrying the bag, he went home first and then went straight to the Gushan martial arts school. When he arrived at his destination, he paid the taxi fare but didn't rush in. Instead, he tidied up his clothes and flicked the dust and hair. After today, he would go in and out as a coach. He had to pay attention to his image. Chapter 227. The Gushan Martial Arts School was located near the new business district of Xiaofan. It had a quiet and elegant environment, and it had an old 3-story building. Lu Cheng tidied up his appearance, walked through the trees, and opened the door. He found Qin Rue waiting for him at the front desk. "You're early." He greeted him happily. Lu Cheng patted his arm and joked, "I'm not familiar with Xiaofan. I can't even estimate the time of the bus ride." "Haha, Xiaofan changes every half a year. Everywhere is being renovated." Qin Rue replied and led Lu Cheng inside. After entering, Lu Cheng found that the Gushan Martial Arts School was really big. The training ground on the first floor was several times bigger than the Hongluo Martial Arts School he had been to before. It was cleverly designed and divided into 7 or 8 areas. Some areas were noisy and crowded, while others only had 11 or 12 people practicing martial arts seriously. Noticing Lu Cheng's gaze, Qin Rue introduced with a smile, "Isn't it big? My master always says that this place is his proudest and most regrettable place." "Proudest and most regrettable place?" Lu Cheng asked. Qin Rue pointed at the training ground and said, "This used to be the workers' club of the 3-machine factory. It was sold during hard times and was bought by my master who was looking for a place to open a martial arts school. That was many years ago, and there was no concept of housing prices. But my master spent most of his savings to buy the equipment. He really borrowed a lot of money. But now, look at the surrounding housing prices. They have increased by more than 10 times. It's the most valuable and best asset of our martial arts school." "So that's what he's proud of?" Lu Cheng couldn't help laughing. He didn't think about it at all. Who would have thought that the proudest thing of a martial arts school was real estate investment? He asked curiously, "Then why is it the most regrettable place?" Qin Rue couldn't help but laugh. "At that time, my master was still young and full of ambition. He wondered if he should leave Xiaofan and open a martial arts club in Gaofan. Later, when he had the opportunity to buy such a big house, he gave it up. A professional 9th pin martial arts club could only make a splash in Gaofan. He would be suppressed by others even if he raised his head. It was better for him to stay in Xiaofan and be a local tyrant. Now, thinking about the housing prices in Gaofan, my master talks about it every day and every month. Not to mention buying a house in Gaofan, a decent martial arts school is enough. Even the demolition alone is enough to make him not to worry for the rest of his life. Why is it always about the appreciation of the house? Is this something that a martial arts school should pay attention to?" Lu Cheng couldn't help but laugh. "Ah." After turning a corner and walking a few steps, Qin Rue led him up the stairs and all the way to the 3rd floor. The lighting here was rather dim, with long corridors and doors. Qin Rue didn't explain much. He looked a little nervous and solemn. He strode to the innermost part of the room and knocked on the door gently and rhythmically. Knock, knock, knock. Knock, knock, knock. After 2 knocks, a slightly hoarse voice came from the inside. "Come in." Qin Rue unlocked the door and pushed it in, allowing Lu Cheng to see the scene inside. The window was big and the sun was shining brightly. The table and chairs were carved from mahogany. Steam was rising from the tea set. Chu Wei Kai, with his deep wrinkles and sharp eyes, had already stood up and welcomed Lu Cheng with a chuckle. "Seeing you in person is better than hearing about you. Young friend, you are full of spirit and vigor. You really brighten my eyes. Qin Rue and Lin Feng have been praising you in front of this old man. I didn't believe them at first, but they showed me the videos of your recent matches. Wow, a young hero. Xiaofan has never had a mighty one in the physical invulnerability stage in its history. Maybe you can make up for it. He spoke like an old-fashioned Jianghu man. Lu Cheng had originally thought that he could handle such situations calmly. However, after being praised by such an experienced Jianghu veteran, he suddenly felt a little helpless and did not know how to respond. He could only say modestly, "You're too kind." After exchanging a few pleasantries, Chu Wei let Lu Cheng sit in the guest seat. He poured himself a cup of kung fu tea and said with a smile, "Qin Rui has already conveyed your intentions. This old man can understand your master's mentality very well. If these unworthy disciples of mine go out, I will definitely warn them again and again to not let them use the signboard recklessly before they achieve anything." Qin Rui and Dai Linfeng didn't sit down. Instead, they stood on either side of Chu Wei Kai. It was obvious that the master-disciple relationship in Gushan Martial Arts School was more old-fashioned and solemn, unlike Lu Cheng, who often joked with Geezer Shi and sometimes even made fun of him. Of course, the main reason for this was that Geezer Shi himself was not serious. Without waiting for Lu Cheng to answer, Chu Wei Kai picked up the Yixing clay teapot and poured him a cup of fragrant tea. "Try it. This is the Mongolian wild mountain tea that I asked someone to bring back. It's not worse than Ningshui's Maojian green tea." The water was light yellow and moist. Lu Cheng took a sip and felt a strong bitterness. Following that, the taste buds on his tongue seemed to have come alive, throbbing with layers of sweetness. The aftertaste was endless. Good tea. He didn't know anything about tea, so he could only give a superficial compliment. Chu Wei Kai smiled reservedly and said, "There are now 3 VIP classes. I'm old, so I usually just look around and give a few pointers. Most of the time, Lin Feng is in charge. There are 2 classes that come every holiday, and Lin Feng is more familiar with them. I'm afraid they won't be able to adapt to a sudden change of coach. I can only give the remaining class to you first, and then we'll recruit another one. This class is every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 9 a.m. to 12 a.m. Are you okay with it?" "No." Lu Cheng thought for a while and added, "What if I have something to do at the last minute? Find someone to fill in for you or change classes." Chu Wei Kai waved his hand and asked Dai Linfeng to take 4 sheets of white paper from the desk. "I know it's your first time as a part-time coach. I was worried that you would be worried, so I specially asked Linfeng to make a contract. Words are not proof, so it's just black and white. Look, the contract is very simple. They didn't ask a lawyer to make it. They made it so fancy that even an old man like me can't understand it." The 4 sheets of white paper meant that there were 2 copies of each one, but there were only 2 copies of the real contract. There were about 7 or 8 clauses, mainly stipulating a few things. First, the payment method. Before starting the part-time job, Lu Cheng would be paid 10,000 yuan, 20,000 yuan at the end of July, and the rest would be paid on the day of the summer break. Second, there would be no commission for individual coaching fees. Third, Lu Cheng would be responsible for any problems caused by physical punishment. Lu Cheng looked carefully. After confirming that there was nothing ambiguous, he smiled and said, "I have no problem with it." "Okay, let's just sign it." Chu Wei Kai asked Dai Linfeng to bring him a fountain pen and said self-deprecatingly, "At my age, a fountain pen is more comfortable. I'm not used to you young people's signature pens and ballpoint pens." After a few swipes, the 2 finished signing and kept 1 copy each. Lu Cheng wrote down his card number on another sheet of paper. "Welcome to our martial arts club. When you become famous, we'll be proud of you too." Chu Wei Kai shook Lu Cheng's hands and formally expressed his welcome. In the end, he reminded him, those kids are here to strengthen their bodies and learn some self-defense moves. Don't be too strict. Let them rest when they need to, in case something bad happens to them. Okay. Lu Cheng agreed happily. He wasn't an inexperienced person. During the martial arts lessons, the special training members would often help the lazy Geezer Shi to teach them in groups. Most of the students who joined the martial arts club only wanted to strengthen their bodies and learn some self-defense moves. "Come directly on Monday." Chu Wei Kai turned to look at his disciple. "Qin Rui, show Lu Cheng around and familiarize him with the place." "Yes, master." Qin Rui exhaled and looked at ease. After the 2 left and the door closed, Dai Linfeng frowned slightly and said, Master, there's no need to be so attentive. He obviously wants to keep a distance from us. Chu Weikai laughed and said, You're still too young. The most important thing for a person to succeed is to learn how to read people. You know who to keep a distance from, who to befriend, and who to befriend. Sigh, I only understood this after I turned 40. Otherwise, how could I be trapped in Xiaofan? The third floor is our lounge, locker room, office, and strength training gymnasium for inner disciples. The second floor has 2 practice fields and 3 large strength training gymnasiums. When it's usually empty, we'll use a part of it as a gym. When summer classes start, we'll have to rotate according to time. But you don't have to worry about the VIP class. You can directly use the strength training gymnasium on the 3rd floor. The individual instruction is also there. Qin Rue introduced the layout and facilities of the martial arts club to Lu Cheng. When the two passed by a practice field, they suddenly heard a surprised shout. Brother Lu Cheng! Lu Cheng looked over and found that it was his cousin's boyfriend, Ding Yanba. He was a long-term student and was walking and standing with 7 or 8 other people. Practice hard. Lu Cheng smiled and encouraged him. Qin Rue put on a serious face and corrected the irregular movements of several students. This was the group he was in charge of. When the two were far away, a student asked Ding Yanba in a low voice. Ding Ding, who is that? Do you know him? He looks like he's very good at fighting. Although they didn't know that this was a sign of a certain level of body refining, they could still feel Lu Cheng's fierceness and toughness. They felt that he didn't look weak at all when standing next to Qin Rue, who was more than 1.9 meters tall. Hey, it's me, it's my cousin. Ding Yanba was thick-skinned and pretended to be a relative. He's Brother Rue's classmate. Brother Rue specially invited him to teach the VIP class. Really? Several students were surprised. That was the VIP class that the master was in charge of. Of course, why would I lie to you? You'll know in a few days. Ding Yanba was so excited that his face turned red. I haven't told you that Brother Lu Cheng is very likely to be the head coach of the martial arts club. This was what Qin Rue had mentioned when they were chatting. When the other students were about to ask, they saw Qin Rue stop and yell back, What are you talking about? Don't you want to eat? Suddenly, several students kept quiet out of fear and didn't dare to make a sound. Seeing this, Lu Qing found it funny and said, You're very dignified. Of course I am. These bastards dare to slack off when I smile at them. Cheng, when you teach the VIP class on Monday, you should show them your power at the beginning. They'll be scared of you and then it'll be easier to control them later. Otherwise, kids at this age can turn the sky upside down. Qin Rue imparted his own experience. Lu Qing nodded thoughtfully and said, Okay. How should I show them my power? This is a really troublesome question. While he was thinking, Qin Rue asked in a low voice, Cheng, are you going to participate in this youth tournament? Chapter 228. Lu Cheng was still thinking about how to show off his power. He wondered if he should bring a rock over and smash it with a single whip in front of those kids. However, he also felt that it would be too deliberate, too forced, too pretentious, and too ungraceful of a master. While thinking, he heard Qin Rue's question. He was stunned for a few seconds before he recovered. I'm going to participate, but I don't know if I can register. The full name of the youth tournament was the Third Youth Champion Tournament of Xing Province. It was held once every 3 years. The registration requirement was to be a martial artist under the age of 26 from the province. Because of the saying, if you can't achieve physical invulnerability by the age of 30, you'll never be able to achieve physical invulnerability. Lu Cheng's age definitely met the requirements, but the problem was that his household registration had been moved to Songqing University, where he participated in the ranking event. It was still a question whether he could be considered a martial artist from the province. This made him a little uncertain. He considered asking his master for help if he really couldn't get in. Anyway, the address on my ID card is still Xiaoshan City. Registration. Qin Rue was confused. He, who had never gone to college, couldn't imagine how Cheng, who was born and raised in this place, wasn't a martial artist from his province. Until Lu Cheng explained it to him, he suddenly understood. He laughed and said, Don't worry, it's simple. If you can't register yourself, You can go through our martial arts club. Didn't you read the supplementary rules? Martial artists from the province, including those who work in the province, can register through their company or unit. Then I'm relieved. Lu Cheng was relieved and showed a sincere smile. This was the challenge tournament that he had carefully selected. It perfectly met the requirements of having a lot of money, being at the right level, and not having to travel too much. As for other competitions, there were some good ones. For example, the Battle of the Kings, which started in mid-August every year and ended in early April next year. Even if Lu Cheng wanted to participate, he would still be beaten up badly. He didn't have the strength to get the prize money at all. The Youth Martial Artist Championship competition of Xing Province was jointly organized by the provincial government and the Provincial Martial Artist Association. At first, it was intended to be a benchmark to encourage young martial artists to work hard and change the image of a weak province. However, after the competition started, they found that the viewership ratings were quite good. After all, the fighting styles of physical invulnerability experts and high-ranked dance stage experts were very different from low-level fighting with bare hands and feet. Many of the audience liked to watch thunder and fire, but they also liked the feeling of blood boiling when fists hit flesh. Therefore, after the first batch, there was a second batch and then a third batch. With the rise of live streaming, the broadcasting fees increased rapidly, and so did the prize money. This year, the plan announced was that the top 32 would be given a prize money circle. It was not a progressive system. The champion would get 600,000 yuan, the runner-up would get 350,000 yuan, the third and fourth would get 200,000 yuan, the remaining 4 in the top 8 would get 100,000 yuan, the remaining 8 in the top 16 would get 50,000 yuan each, and the remaining 16 would get 10,000 yuan each. Lu Cheng didn't know much about the martial arts circle in this province, but according to the information obtained from the internet and Yanzhaka, there were at most 7 or 8 dance stage fighters under the age of 26, and even fewer professional ninth pin fighters with supernatural abilities. As long as his luck wasn't too bad, he would be guaranteed to be in the top 32. He might even be able to compete for the top 16 or even the top 8. If he could gain a lot from this month's training, Lu Cheng felt that he would have greater ambitions. Qin Rui laughed and said sincerely, "Actually, this is our martial arts club's advantage. Think about it. When the time comes, the commentator will definitely say that you are the coach of the VIP class of Gushan Martial Arts Club in Xiaofan City. With your strength, you will definitely be in the top 32. Then our martial arts club's fame will spread beyond Xiaoshan to the whole province. Hee. Maybe you will even be on the Xing Province Young Fighters roll call." Lu Cheng had looked up the information about the youth tournament, so he naturally knew what the roll call was. It was a summary program of the youth tournament that Xing Province Satellite TV imitated the ancient customs. Only the top 16 fighters and outstanding fighters in certain aspects would be invited for an interview, and then they would be given a nickname they made up on their own. Most of the time, it would be very melodramatic, such as Little White Dragon, Ultimate Boxing King, and so on. Because he would always associate it with the Donglin roll call, Lu Cheng didn't have the slightest interest in it. He laughed and said, "Will you also participate in the program?" "Yes, all the inner disciples will participate. This is what we told our parents when we signed up for the summer school. That's why the price is lower than last year's." Qin Rui took a breath and said with a longing look, "Although we definitely won't be in the top 32 and won't get the prize money, we can gain more practical experience. At the same time, we can figure out what level we are in among the young fighters in the province. Then we can find goals and motivation." "Well, this doesn't sound like something you would say." Lu Cheng made a joke. Qin Rui smiled bitterly and said, "This is what my master has been nagging about recently. Cheng, my master asked you to decide the fee for individual tutoring. How much do you plan to set?" "Why do you suddenly ask this?" "I don't know how much I should charge for my level," Lu Cheng answered awkwardly. Besides, he could definitely teach a small class of 10. There was no need to go against his conscience and ask them for individual tutoring. Some money could be earned, but some couldn't. Senior brother Dai went to Gaofan a month ago to inquire about this. The fee for individual tutoring of a professional ninth pin fighter is 500 to 600 yuan per hour. You must be better than the average professional ninth pin fighter, so you should at least charge 800 yuan per hour. Qin Rui said with a smile, "Cheng, do you think no one will ask you for individual tutoring? There are only 10 people in the VIP class. It's almost the same as individual tutoring." Lu Qing frowned and said his thoughts. Qin Rui smiled and said, "The ones who will ask you for individual tutoring are not the students in the VIP class, but us inner disciples and long-term students who want to become stronger." This kind of individual tutoring definitely did not involve the teaching of martial arts, so each person could solve many problems in 1 or 2 hours. There was no need to ask frequently. I see. Lu Qing finally understood that he was a real discerning person, so he smiled and said to Qin Rui, "Anyway, it's free." Those kids in the VIP class who only wanted to strengthen their bodies would never understand the value of a top professional 9th pin fighter. No, it's too embarrassing to ask for free. How can I face you in the future? Just give me a classmate discount. Qin Rui beamed and said, "I've booked 2 hours of individual tutoring next week. I have to prepare for the youth tournament." "Okay, a classmate discount of 30%. I'll call you when I'm free." Lu Chang could understand Qin Rui's mentality of not wanting to take advantage of others, because he was the same kind of person. In fact, he knew that Qin Rui didn't earn much. Since he was in his own teacher's martial arts club, the cost of practicing martial arts was borne by his teacher, so his corresponding salary was much lower than the normal standard of an amateur first-pin fighter. It was said that his monthly salary before was 2,000 plus commission for individual tutoring. After he got the amateur first-pin certificate, his salary increased by 1,000. Among the inner disciples, Dai Linfeng only had a basic salary of 3,500. Of course, in a place like Xiaofan, it was not bad. Qin Rui was in a good mood, so he asked casually, "You don't have to visit relatives during the summer vacation, so you should be quite free." "Hee. Are you going on a date with your girlfriend?" "Hee." Lu Qing laughed and admitted it. Anyway, Qin Rui already knew that he had a girlfriend. It's all because of Fatty Zhang's big mouth. At this time, the two of them walked back to the first floor. Instead of continuing the topic, they walked toward one of the summer classes. There were only 5 classes of summer students in the gymnasium at the same time. This was the limit. Any more and it would affect the long-term training of the students. As they walked, Qin Rui suddenly felt that something was wrong. Because he didn't think about what he had just asked. Cheng found his girlfriend when he was in college. How could he date during the summer vacation? I just asked casually, and he admitted it? Is he going to send her thousands of miles away? Maybe she's from the same province. Maybe she's from Xiaoshan. The more he thought about it, the more he was interested in gossip. He planned to ask someone later to see if there was anyone else in Xiaoshan studying in Songqing. Su Rongfei, the inner disciple, looked helplessly at the summer class students who were all over the place in the horse stance. He put on a stern face and was about to lecture them when he suddenly saw Qin Rui walking over with a young man in a slim t-shirt. The more he looked at him, the more familiar he felt this young man was. Then he remembered what senior brother Dai had said before. Qin Rui's classmate, Lu Cheng, was going to work part-time here. All of a sudden, he seemed to have returned to the morning of the first day of the new year, to that bloody and terrifying scene. He saw the insufferably arrogant man in black training clothes softly fall to the ground, and he saw the young man who still had some remnants of youth standing upright. Yet now, he had already shed his immaturity and was no longer a youth. He slowly walked in front of her. Su Rongfei subconsciously straightened his body and greeted him respectfully, "Brother Cheng." "Just call me Lu Cheng," Lu Cheng said with a smile. "You call me Brother Lu better than Brother Cheng. Don't you know the 2D world?" As he spoke, he glanced at the 30 boys and girls who were brimming with childishness. He felt their excitement for the first time. Practicing martial arts was still a barbaric thing for the kids. Before the hardships, it would be full of fun. After exchanging a few pleasantries, Lu Cheng, Qin Rui, and Su Rongfei greeted each other and continued to walk around the training ground on the first floor. Looking at their backs, a girl asked curiously, "Coach Su, who is that? I didn't see him in the registration book before." The registration book would list the coaches in charge of each class. The strong ones would be described in detail, while the ordinary ones would be described in brief. The applicants were allowed to choose which class to join until they were full. Su Rongfei thought about Dai Linfeng's words and sighed. He's the new coach of the VIP class. Wow, the VIP class. The students in the class of 30 expressed their admiration and yearning. That's the martial arts class personally taught by the dojo master. That big brother who looked so strong just now was on the same level as the dojo master? After walking around the martial arts school, Qin Rui sent Lu Qing off. When they waved goodbye, they saw Chu Weikai leading Dai Linfeng out in a hurry. Chairman Wei invited us over. Are you interested in joining us? Chu Weikai stopped in front of Lu Cheng and asked politely. No thanks. Lu Cheng declined the invitation. Then we'll go first. Chu Weikai didn't waste time and went straight to the parking lot with Dai Linfeng. Qin Rui walked to Lu Cheng's side and said with a smile, It's probably about the preliminaries again. Lu Cheng nodded. He had a rough idea of what was going on. Qin Rui continued, Previously, a few teams from Xiaofan were eliminated in the group stage. Chairman Wei has a rough idea of our standards. He plans to select 5 to 6 fighters from a few big martial arts schools and invite 1 or 2 locally born professional 9th pin fighters to undergo special training for half a year. It's said that not only will they be provided with funds, they will also be provided with internal training methods and a good coach. It's not like you don't have a chance if you work hard. After all, you're already of amateur first pin. Lu Cheng saw the envy on Qin Rui's face and comforted him. I'll try my best. Qin Rui took a deep breath and smiled. During this time, Chairman Wei has been inviting a few locally born professional 9th pin fighters to come back for a discussion. Today, it's most likely because of this matter. In my opinion, the most suitable coach is here. Cheng, with your strength, won't you be able to defeat them? Me? I don't have the time. Lu Cheng shook his head. If everything went well, when the preliminaries were in full swing next year, he would be on his way to the National University Martial Arts Competition. Chapter 229. After saying goodbye to Qin Rui and returning home, Lu Cheng found the medicine jar and other things that he had bought online. He followed the instructions of the prescription step by step to complete the decoction. When everything was ready, Lu Cheng, who had never done anything like this before, finally heaved a sigh of relief. He looked at his phone and noted down the current time. If he screwed up, it would be a waste of money. At this moment, Qi Yunfei, wearing a short-sleeved nightgown, walked to the kitchen door, rubbed her sleepy eyes and asked, Brother Lu Cheng, what are you doing? Are you sick? Doesn't look like it. Practicing martial arts medicinal soup. Lu Cheng answered concisely. Oh. Qi Yunfei's face showed that although she didn't understand, she always felt that it was very awesome. Finally she swallowed and asked, Brother Lu Cheng, is there anything to eat? I'm starving. Lu Cheng looked at her with annoyance and amusement. You said you didn't sleep early or late. What's wrong with that? Wouldn't it be better to sleep for 1 more hour? Wait, it's already 11 o'clock. My mom will be back soon to cook. Do I have to wait so long? I'm starving. Qi Yunfei pouted and said with grievance. Listening to her voice and feeling her tone, Lu Cheng suddenly thought of the crying expression on her face. He laughed and said, Don't you have a lot of snacks? They can't fill my stomach. Humph, if your girlfriend is hungry, you definitely won't have such an attitude. Qi Yunfei pouted and said. Ah. Lu Cheng was stunned. Why do you say that? Qi Yunfei quickly turned from anger to joy and said with a smile. Yesterday when we were eating barbecue, your expression when you took the photo and sent the message was so gentle that I could pinch water out of it. I thought of a word, spoiling smile. Lu Cheng's mind suddenly showed the classic expression of Shiba Inu. His mouth twitched and said, Where did you learn this word? In a novel. Qi Yunfei answered firmly. Then she asked curiously, What would you do if your girlfriend was hungry? Lu Cheng thought for a moment and said with a smile, I'll treat her to my well-honed egg fried rice. If there's anything else she wants to eat, she can order it. If not, I'll hurry out and buy it for her. As for you, well, there's a box at the corner of the table. There are a few boxes of instant noodles in it. His mother had a strange hobby. She liked to keep a box of instant noodles at home, but she didn't eat them herself. He didn't know why. You value a girl over a girl. Qi Yunfei looked as if she had suffered a blow. Isn't this too clear? Your girlfriend is treated so well, and I'm only fit to eat instant noodles? Lu Cheng thought for a moment and answered seriously, Yes. Wasn't that obvious? Of course his girlfriend was more important than his sister. Qi Yunfei covered her face and left the kitchen. She walked to the table and said loudly after a few seconds, "Braised beef noodles. I hate this the most. Brother Lu Cheng, don't you have any other flavors?" "No. Just put up with it. It's time to eat," Lu Cheng answered coldly. He took a photo of the medicine pot sitting on the fire with his mobile phone and sent it to Yen Zhaka. He shared with her his first experience of decocting medicinal materials. When time passed and everything was done, he mixed the two decoctions together and filled a big bowl. He took a photo again and sent it to Yen Zhaka with a snickering emoji. "It's a black bowl. Will I be poisoned?" Yen Zhaka replied, "Do you need mouth-to-mouth resuscitation?" "Hey, you've learned to flirt with me?" "No, I'm poisoned. Hurry. Hurry up and give me mouth-to-mouth resuscitation." Lu Cheng replied with a smile. Yen Zhaka sent a proud emoji. "I didn't say it was me. My dad used to take this as an elective. He's very good at it." "Then forget it." Lu Cheng replied with an emoji of looking blankly at the sky. He was tricked by Yen Zhaka again. Yen Zhaka sent an emoji of laughing. "Who told you to always think the wrong way? You big pervert." "Actually, I've checked the information and asked people. As long as the prescription given by Coach Sure is correct, it doesn't matter if you make a little mistake. At most, the medicine will be a little less effective." "Then I'm relieved. I'll drink a bowl and try it later." Lu Cheng took out another 2 bowls and divided the decoction into 2 portions. He would drink 1 portion later and the other portion tomorrow morning. His master had said that the decoction could be kept cold in the refrigerator. In the future, he would drink a bowl before morning training and another half an hour after breakfast. He didn't intend to reduce the intensity of his summer training. In addition to morning training, he also planned to have 2 hours of special training in the morning. He could also use the strength training gym of the martial arts school during his part-time work. Of course, this was summer. He could change the schedule if he wanted to, but the total amount would remain the same. At around 1 o'clock, Lu Cheng watched Qi Yunfei sneak out of the house with the excuse of going shopping with her friends. He changed into his martial arts suit again and gulped down the bitter decoction. He didn't find a shady place in the community to do his special training. That way, he wouldn't need to wait until tomorrow. At night, everyone in the community would know that Lu Jisheng was addicted to martial arts and didn't do his job properly. Under the scorching sun of early July, Lu Cheng walked on the steaming hot ground and jogged to the nearest park at noon when there were few people on the road. He wanted to let the decoction dissolve little by little. When he arrived at the park, he felt a little warm in his stomach. So he used the power of frost to get rid of the high temperature on the surface of his body and to stop the flow of sweat. He found a shady place, took a posture, and began to practice the thunder roar Zen. Every move was slow and dull, but it could stir up the wind. At the same time, the thunder in his stomach continued. His muscles compressed and relaxed and vibrated continuously. Along with the effect of the decoction, he refined his strength into the smallest part of his body. After a few punches and kicks, he, who was half in meditation, was keenly aware that there was a trace of heat flowing into every part of his body. With the vibration of the thunder roar, it slowly forced out the impurities and condensed the purity. Bam! Bam! The airflow kept exploding. Lu Cheng's punches were slower and heavier than the one before. There was no need for special effects, but it was enough to frighten the audience. After an unknown amount of time, he withdrew his posture and exhaled a mouthful of turbid air. He had reached the limit of his current tempering. Although there were no signs or understanding of withdrawing, he felt that the strength in his body was slowly and subtly changing. With his own polishing, they gradually developed a feeling called penetrating. Penetrating. Lu Cheng pondered over the words that could best describe the signs just now. Once again, he used the cold current to get rid of the heat. Well, other things aside, the power of frost is still very useful in this regard. I, Lu Cheng, am a walking air conditioner. While his thoughts were running wild, he suddenly heard the phone in his pocket ring. He took it out and saw that it was a call from Director Xing Chenggu. "Hello, Uncle Xing?" Lu Cheng vaguely guessed what was going on. Director Xing laughed and said, "Are you on vacation? Have you returned to Xiaofan?" "I just arrived yesterday." Lu Cheng answered honestly. "I knew that Ko had returned home, so I thought you should have already arrived. If you're free, please come over. I didn't treat you to a meal last time. Director Xing made small talk. Sure. Lu Cheng replied politely. Director Xing sighed and said with a smile, don't be shy. Don't think that you're trying to curry favor with an official. You can't cross the moral threshold in your heart. I've been paying attention to your matches for the past few months. I really feel that you have a bright future ahead of you. Sigh, it's impossible for me not to grow old in this lifetime. I have to think about the future of my children and family. It's a good thing for me to get to know a young talent like you, a very good thing. Hee hee, don't you feel better now that you think about it? Lu Cheng's thoughts, which were difficult for him to detect and accurately describe, were directly exposed. For a moment he blushed with shame. I don't have such thoughts. I sincerely treat you as an uncle. Uncle Xing's style of speaking was really like his personality, straightforward and direct. That's good. Back to business. Wang Su's case will be heard next Friday afternoon. As a secret witness, you have to attend. Don't worry, there won't be any outsiders. I guarantee your safety. Be prepared and dress decently. Don't be like a bore like me, who was always laughed at because of my clothes. Director Xing said heartily. After the frank and honest words, Lu Qing also felt relieved. He smiled and said, okay. Was Wang Su's case finally coming to an end? After today's training, Qin Rui returned home and lay on his bed. Thinking of what happened before, he logged into QQ and found the well-informed person in his mind. Fatty Jiang, are you there? Can I ask you something? Jiang Fei had just woken up on the train and replied in boredom, what's the matter? Qin Rui was not a beauty. He did not need a good attitude. Do you know who in our grade got into Songqing? Qin Rui asked. Why do you ask this? Jiang Fei answered blankly. I only know 4. Chang, Yan Zheka, Gu Chao from class 7, Li Liang from class 8, and there may be others. Gu Chao from class 7, Li Liang from class 8. Qin Rui tried hard to recall these 2 classmates, but he really did not know them. He could only ask again, which school are Gu Chao and Li Liang in? Are they both boys? Isn't that obvious? Gu Chao is in Songqing Technology, and Li Liang is in Songbei Normal University. Jiang Fei only felt that Qin Rui's question was ridiculous. 2 boys. Only Yan Zheka was a girl. Qin Rui suddenly gasped. No way, but Fatty Zhang's information was not detailed enough, so it could not be accurate. Do you know who else in Xiaofan got into Songqing? He asked cautiously. Jiang Fei replied in a bad mood. How would I know about other schools? Qin Rui thought for a while and decided to change the topic. You said Cheng has a girlfriend. Do you know who she is? Are you stupid? I have never seen her or know her. How would I know? Jiang Fei said with an angry smile. I'll ask Cheng face to face tomorrow. This bastard actually left the single life without a word. I see. Qin Rui was not sure, but he suddenly had some guesses and associations. He asked to confirm, there are only 2 girls in Songqing University, right? Should be. Who doesn't show off when they get into this kind of university? I remember it's only Chang and Yan Zheka. Jiang Fei answered without thinking. Only Chang and Yan Zheka in Songqing University. Qin Rui gasped again. It can't be. In her own bedroom in her grandfather's house, Yan Zheka was holding her phone and rolling around. Then she took out the ring on her necklace and sighed faintly. I haven't seen Cheng for a day. Chapter 230. Because Yan Zheka was asked by her grandparents to stay in Zhengke County for a few more days, Lu Cheng could only continue his single life. He took medicine, did morning exercises, had special training for breakfast, took a shower and chatted on QQ, while Qi Yunfei happily went out for a date. Just when he was thinking that he hadn't seen Ku for 2 days, he suddenly heard a rude knock on the door. Knock, knock, knock. Who is it? Lu Cheng casually shouted. In fact, according to this style, he could guess who it was even with his toes. It's me. Jiang Fei answered with a loud voice. He didn't consider whether the other person knew who he was. It was as good as not saying anything. Lu Cheng put on his slippers and walked to the shoe cabinet. He opened the door and saw Jiang Fei, who was neither fat nor thin. He was carrying a laptop bag and looking at the scene in the room stealthily. Cheng Qili stood behind him with a face full of gossip. "What are you looking at?" Lu Cheng laughed and scolded. Jiang Fei laughed and said, "I don't want to disturb you." "Well, no, you are probably a poor foreign dog now." He entered the room and changed his shoes as if he was back at home. "Cheng, you didn't tell me you had a girlfriend. You are not a good friend." Cheng Qili combed his 3/7-part hair. "What can you do if I tell you?" "I can't help you get monitor." Lu Cheng replied with sophistry. Cheng Qili was speechless for a moment. After a long time he murmured, "I can be happy for you. We are brothers. How can you hide such a good thing from me?" "I thought that if Fatty Jiang knew, you would know." Lu Cheng closed the door and walked to the living room with Cheng Qili. But Jiang Fei had already arrived at the door of his bedroom and made a strange cry. "Cheng, you slept with a girl in your room. You didn't take her to meet your parents directly, did you? She is only a freshman. You are awesome, awesome." Lu Cheng stared at him and said, "Where is your IQ? My cousin came to Xiaofan to play and I was kicked out to sleep in the living room. You have met Qi Yunfei." Jiang Fei was a little disappointed. Then he winked and joked, "You mean the cute one? She is in her first year of high school, right? Does she have a boyfriend?" "Cheng, I suddenly think it's good for you to be a brother-in-law," Lu Cheng said with anger and amusement. "It's too late for you to think about it now. She has had a boyfriend 800 years ago." Jiang Fei sucked in a breath of cold air. "Children nowadays, how old are they to have boyfriends? And I'm still single to this day. This is really a sad thing. Cheng, you said you were still pursuing her during the winter vacation. When did you succeed?" Cheng Qili was quite curious and pulled the topic back to the right track. There was no need to hide this. Lu Cheng smiled proudly and said, "After winter break, right after school starts." Cheng Qili was speechless and could only give him a thumbs up. For a moment, Lu Cheng saw himself who used to look up to little Ming in his eyes. Come, come, come. Let us get to know sister-in-law. Do you have a picture of her?" "There must be." Jiang Fei put down his laptop bag, leaned over and smiled shyly. "Calm. Look. Calm. Cut the crap. You don't want to show it to us, right?" Jiang Fei was not misled and got the point. Lu Qing laughed and said, "Yes. Really. I will treat you to dinner with her in the future. It feels weird to show you her picture." If Fatty Jiang knew that his girlfriend was Ku, then the whole class would know as well. Once the whole class knew, then the whole grade would know as well. Sooner or later, it would reach Ku's father's ears. What's so strange about it? So mysterious. Jiang Fei had a high EQ. Sensing the insistence in Lu Cheng's tone, he only muttered one sentence and did not ask any more questions. Instead, he emphasized, "You have to keep your word. When are you going to invite your girlfriend to treat us to a meal? Even if you're treating us in Songqing, I'll still run over." "Okay, when the dust settles." Lu Cheng promised and then changed the topic. "Old Cheng, how is it going between you and Monitor? Any progress?" She had been too busy last semester to have a good talk with Cheng Qili about this. "Well, it's still the same." Cheng Qili sighed. "Lin Lin is busy with the class and the student union every day. We don't have much time to talk." "Hey, you're calling her Lin Lin." Lu Cheng joked. Jiang Fei shook his head. "Monitor's character is like this. She likes to get involved in these things. She's very, very strong and has a strong desire to control. Old Cheng, you have to think about it carefully." I like her this way." Cheng Qili answered weakly, "I feel like I can't get into her life." "You're not in the same school, and you're a standard otaku who hates the chores in class and the student union. It's hard to get into Monitor's life." Lu Qing frowned. "It's okay. I'll ask a real expert for you." The three of them chatted for a while. Then they lined up the computers and played online games. Jiang Fei and Cheng Qili saw that Lu Qing picked up the phone from time to time and replied to the messages. They were more sure that he was in a relationship and was not bragging. This also made them more confused. What was there to hide about being in a relationship? Especially on the boy's side. Even if his parents knew, they would probably be happy to see it. After playing for a few hours, the two of them put on their laptop bags, left Lu Cheng's house slowly, and got into Fatty Zhang's car. Jiang Fei thought about Lu Cheng's attitude while fastening his seat belt. Suddenly he said, "Oh, old Cheng, I know what's wrong. I smell the smell of gossip." "What's wrong?" Cheng Qili was not sensitive enough in this aspect. "Old Cheng, think about it. We all know that Cheng is in a relationship. There's no need for him to hide who his girlfriend is." Jiang Fei pointed out the problem. "If his girlfriend is from another city, we don't know her. Even if we see the photo, it won't have any effect at all. The gossip won't spread to that side." "What do you mean?" Cheng Qili understood Jiang Fei's unspoken words. "We know his girlfriend. That's why he wants to hide it." Jiang Fei said proudly, "We know her? She's not our classmate, is she? Monitor? Bah! You dog mouth." Cheng Qili scolded angrily. Jiang Fei turned the car key and started the ignition. He said casually, "I'm just guessing. Hey, do you think it's Chow Lei? They've been deskmates for a long time. They're both studying in another city, so they're lonely. Maybe they can chat on QQ. Maybe they'll be together?" "It's possible," Cheng Qili answered seriously. "It could also be Li Mengjie. She's studying in Donglin, close to Cheng." Jiang Fei continued to guess. Cheng Qili sneered. "That's nothing. There's someone closer. Yan Zhaka is still in Songqing University." "How is that possible?" Jiang Fei laughed subconsciously, but suddenly, his hand froze in place as he was about to pull the handbrake. "No way. This is simply unimaginable. It's been 3 days since I last saw Ku." Lu Qing finished his training, had breakfast, took a shower and changed his clothes. He took his keys and wallet, put on a clean martial arts suit, and took a taxi to Gushan Martial Arts School. Today was Monday. If there were no accidents, the first 10,000 yuan would be transferred to him today. Since it was his first time here, Chu Weikai, Dai Linfeng and Qin Rue all accompanied him to the VIP classes special training ground. Lu Cheng looked around and found that they were all teenagers. The oldest was about 17 or 18 years old, and the youngest was about 12 or 13 years old. There were 6 boys and 4 girls, all dressed neatly. From the details, he could see that they were all from good families. To be honest, although Lu Cheng was only 19.5 years old, which was not much better than the oldest student, with his current mentality, looking back at high school students was like looking at children. "Students, this is Coach Lu Cheng, the martial arts school specially invited for you. He's a real professional 9th pin fighter. Much better than me. He'll be teaching you from now on." Dai Linfeng introduced Lu Cheng to the students. A 14 or 15-year-old girl giggled. "Really? Better than you, Coach Dai? Why don't you have a fight and show us?" Her eyes were bright, full of curiosity and excitement. The new coach looked cool and strong. She wondered how he would fare in a real fight. How much better is a professional 9th pin fighter than an amateur 1st pin fighter? "Wu Ting, don't be naughty. Coach Lu will punish you to run 10 laps later." Dai Linfeng laughed. Lu Cheng took a step forward, smiled and said, "Hello, everyone. I'm Lu Cheng. Earlier, Coach Dai and the others told me that at the beginning of the class, I should show off in front of you and frighten you so that it would be easier to control later. I've been thinking about how to do that." His frank words immediately amused the 10.5-year-old children, causing the whole hall to roar with laughter. The new coach was so interesting. Wu Ting, who had 2 ponytails, shouted cheerfully, "Breaking stones with your chest. Coach Lu, I support you." Lu Cheng smiled. "This is not a skill." Club Master Chu, can I borrow your sandbag?" He pointed at the sandbag not far away. "Okay, you don't have to pay for it if you break it," Chu Weikai said with a smile. Qin Rue and Dai Linfeng were waiting with great interest. They wanted to see what kind of tricks Lu Cheng would play with the sandbag. It wouldn't be easy to show off by hitting the sandbag, right? Wu Ting and the other students followed Lu Cheng's gaze. They watched him walk to the sandbag and push it to feel its material and weight. Would Coach Lu Cheng break the sandbag directly? It didn't seem too difficult, right? Lu Cheng took a step back and began to adjust his muscles and tendons, wriggling the corresponding 5 viscera and 6 bowels. This was the preparation for the severe warning. But Lu Cheng didn't plan to use it in conjunction with visualization. He didn't need to be so serious in order to show off his power. He planned to use the severe warning to inject his power into the sandbag in an instant, faster than the shaking of the sandbag so that it couldn't dissipate the power. Then, he would use the Thunder Roar Zen to detonate it in an instant. Lu Cheng took a deep breath. His back muscles bulged and his shoulders exploded. His right arm popped out and hit the sandbag with the heart-drilling hammer. Bang! After a dull sound, the sandbag didn't move an inch. What is he doing? Wu Ting and the other students were confused. Dai Lin Feng and Qin Rue were also confused. Only Chu Wei-Cai's pupils suddenly contracted. Boom! In an instant, the sandbag in front of Lu Cheng exploded, as if it had been installed with a bomb. It shattered into pieces from the inside out. Fine sand fell like rain from the sky. Wu Ting and the others were stunned. There wasn't much sand in Lu Cheng's original direction, so he still felt refreshed. He walked back slowly. He broke the sandbag, literally breaking it. Wu Ting and the other students had never seen such a thing before. They only felt that it was much cooler than breaking a sandbag. Coach Lu is so awesome. Chu Wei-Cai looked at Lu Cheng walking back and sighed deeply. The younger generation will surpass us in time. Teach them well. We'll leave first. Okay. Lu Cheng smiled and nodded. Chapter 231. Practice Field. Lu Cheng glanced at the cleaning lady and said to the excited students, "Introduce yourselves, or I won't know who you are. Start from the left." He had seen the name list of this class in Chu Wei-Cai's office, but he couldn't match them with real people. He only knew that the active and talkative girl was Wu Ting. The girl on the far left had short hair. She smiled sweetly and said, "I'm Zhang Xiaofan, 12 years old. I'll be in the first grade of experimental high school soon." She was the youngest kid in the VIP class. Lu Cheng nodded slightly. He had a plan for her training, so as not to affect her physical development. Only the VIP class had this kind of care. Which coach could take care of so many people at the same time? How could he teach according to each person's condition? "I'm Yao Ruiwei, 15 years old. I'm in the 3rd grade of No. 1 middle school. I'll be in the 1st grade of high school when school starts." The little fatty, about 1.65 meters tall and about the same weight, introduced himself. "Fei Fei's classmate in 2 months. Lu Cheng smiled and observed Yao Ruiwei's body shape. He found that Yao Ruiwei was weak on the inside and strong on the outside. He had to pay attention to the amount of training, or it would be easy to cause problems. Damn, even my master didn't teach me so seriously. "I'm Li Lei, 18 years old. I'm in the 3rd grade of Taichung High School. I'll be going to Hudong University soon." The oldest student in the VIP class said proudly. He was about 1.70 meters tall, with a strong body and thick and messy eyebrows. The teaching quality of Taichung High School is average, but the fighting atmosphere is very strong. It's not bad to be admitted to Hudong University there. Lu Cheng thought casually. Hudong University is just an ordinary key university. "I'm Wu Ting, 15 years old. I'm in the No. 1 middle school." After 5 or 6 students, it was finally the turn of the girl with 2 ponytails and white skin. She deliberately emphasized that she was admitted by herself, as if she was afraid that others would misunderstand that she had spent money. She had a clear spirit and a strong body. This girl must have been practicing. At least she had some martial arts experience. Lu Cheng nodded thoughtfully. By the time all the students had finished their self-introductions, he had roughly matched the names of the people and had a preliminary understanding of the physical condition of each of the 10 people. "Well, I'll teach you some kung fu to calm your mind and restrain your qi. Consider it a warm-up," Lu Cheng said calmly. Wu Ting immediately raised her hand and asked excitedly, "Coach Lu, are you going to teach us meditation?" This was one of the most basic things of profound martial arts. "Don't think too much." Lu Cheng smiled. "At your age, you haven't fully matured yet. You haven't reached the level of vigorous qi and blood of an adult. The more you practice the still stance, the more tired you get. The more you practice the still stance, the worse your spirit will be. Your body will also feel like it's hollowed out. What I'm going to teach you is just a little trick to calm your mind and collect your qi. It will help you enter the state of tempering as soon as possible. Among the students present, Li Lei was the only one who could try the still stance, but there was no need to give him special treatment. After all, Headmaster Chu and Qin Rue had already said that this was only for the sake of strengthening the body. The students were first amused by his trendy humor and lost their voices. They felt that there was not much of a generation gap between them and their coach. Then they were slightly disappointed and expressed their regret for the hopeless still stance. After a short period of calming down, Lu Cheng continued as planned. Next, I'll teach you the horse stance and pole standing. Horse stance? Coach Lu, you're so good. Why are you teaching us such things? I thought you were going to directly teach us the moves and force generation techniques. Wu Ting raised her hand again and said eagerly. You talk too much. Lu Cheng scolded in his heart. He smiled and said, You don't have any foundation. Your backs are very stiff and your legs are very loose. If you don't practice your pole standing well, even if I teach you the moves and force generation techniques now, you'll only be able to put on some fancy stances at most. Punches will be like massages. Speaking of this, his face became serious. Moreover, no matter how profound or powerful the martial arts are, it starts with the basic pole standing step by step. How can a 10,000-foot-tall building be built from the ground? Do you know how deep the foundation is? Do you know how much time and effort I've put into the basic pole standing to get to where I am today? His lofty image of breaking a sandbag with one punch was still fresh in his mind. Wu Ting and the others quickly quieted down and nodded. You can't stay in the horse stance. You have to have a rise and fall and a change in your center of gravity. It's like riding a real horse. Pay attention to my posture. I'll tell you in detail how to exert force from the feet, to the ankle joint, to the knee joint. Lu Cheng didn't follow the script. Instead, he incorporated some of the insights he gained from his training and the insights he gained from the concealment of spirit and qi in meditation. Zhang Xiaofan, Yao Ruiwei and the others were newcomers. For the time being, they were still very enthusiastic. They listened very seriously and attentively. Soon, according to Lu Cheng's instructions, they were in the horse stance. Lu Cheng walked around them and observed them one by one. He immediately pointed out if there was something wrong with the posture. If there was something wrong with the force generation, he would help them correct it with a tap of his foot or a twist of his hand. Remember how you feel now. This is the most suitable posture for you. Lu Cheng stood beside Zhang Qiufan with his arms crossed and reminded her. Yes, Coach Lu. Zhang Qiufan was the youngest and also the most timid. She answered meticulously. Lu Cheng took out his phone and looked at the time. He then came to Yao Ruiwei and found that the little fatty was already trembling. Sweat was gathering on his forehead. Lu Cheng didn't say anything. He just watched for a few minutes. Suddenly he said, You can take a break at the side. He always kept in mind that these half-grown kids were here to strengthen their bodies, not to practice martial arts. Yao Ruiwei was clenching his teeth and persevering when he suddenly heard the coach's order. He suddenly felt that he was hallucinating. He pointed at himself and asked doubtfully, Only me? Only I can rest? Yes, you can rest for 10 minutes. Lu Cheng answered with a smile. Wu Ting, who was sitting in the back row, couldn't stand it. She shouted, Coach Lu, you're biased. Why can he rest but we can't? When you guys grow as fat as him, you can also rest in advance. Lu Cheng said half-jokingly. Wu Ting, Zhang Qiufan and the others laughed out loud. One by one they said, We don't want to. Lu Cheng withdrew his gaze and looked at the little fatty who was in pain because of his joke. He said seriously, Yao Ruiwei, do you think I'm exposing your scars? As the saying goes, don't hit people in the face when you hit them. No. Yao Ruiwei lowered his head and answered. Lu Cheng maintained a serious expression. I've read the information and know that you weren't born fat. You came to the martial arts class this time with the intention of losing weight, right? Yes. Yao Ruiwei answered honestly. That's why I'll remind you often and stimulate you, so that you won't forget the purpose of training, lose your motivation, and slack off. Train well, and in 2 months, let's see if you're still fat. Lu Cheng suddenly emphasized. Yao Ruiwei clenched his teeth. Yes, Coach Lu. Pole standing training, rest. Pole standing training, rest. Lu Cheng controlled the rhythm and let the students gradually master a few basic skills. He also increased their training load little by little. During the break, he didn't waste any time. He opened up his stance and practiced the thunder roar zen in the center of the field. Through the vibration, he catalyzed the effect of the medicine and refined his body. In the sound of the airflow exploding, Li Lei, Zhang Xiaofan and the other students were excited and eager to give it a try. Sounds awesome. Yao Ruiwei, the little fatty, muttered to himself. Li Lei took a breath and said, "When can I train to such a sound?" Wu Ting rolled her eyes at them. "It's still too early. My dad said that if you can train to such a sound, it's already an important step in martial arts. If you're more familiar with your punches and kicks, you can even go to the ranking ceremony." After more than 2 hours, Lu Cheng looked at the students who were a little irritated and disgusted. He clapped his hands and said, "Okay, that's all for the basics. Next, I'll teach you the basic moves and the corresponding force exertion skills." Wu Ting, Zhang Qiufan, and the others immediately cheered. They felt a sense of relief and became excited again. However, they soon realized that they had just jumped from one heated brick bed to another. The repetitive practice of punching and kicking was extremely boring. Their limbs were especially sore and weak. "Coach Lu, can't you let us practice with each other? I see that the other classes are also sparring." During the break, Wu Ting complained, feeling wronged. "That's because they're messing around," Lu Cheng said bluntly. Lu Cheng commented bluntly. "Two rookies will only develop bad habits and make inaccurate movements. When the time comes, it will be difficult to correct them." When he was in the martial arts special training, he was always guided by senior brothers and sisters of high ranks. "Then we can spar with you, right? If we don't have enough time, we can pay Coach Lu to guide us alone." Wu Ting raised her hand and suggested. Lu Cheng laughed. "Let's talk about it after you've mastered the basic moves and force exertion skills. I'll leave some time for practice in the class." "It's not worth the money." His training intensity was only 1/3 of the martial arts special training. In other words, this group of half-grown kids could only practice with each other next week. After that, he looked at the clock on the wall. "Okay, time's up. If you feel sore and tired, you can pay the physiotherapist of the martial arts school. The rest of you don't have to. Go home and do some relaxation exercises. Then you'll feel better." After watching Lu Cheng leave the practice field, Wu Ting lowered her voice and said, "Coach Lu is really different. I heard from other classes that their coaches like to encourage them to practice with each other. Unlike Coach Lu, he doesn't want us to practice with each other. It means that Coach Lu is really teaching us attentively. He doesn't need to teach us the good stuff until we practice with each other." Li Lei wiped his sweat and answered seriously. After finding a physiotherapist to relax, Wu Ting returned home. She was surprised to find that her very busy father, Wu Qinggue, didn't go out. What a rare guest. She felt wronged and joked. Wu Qinggue hugged his daughter and stroked her hair. "I want to come back to accompany you whenever I'm free. How about it? How do you feel about your new coach?" Wu Ting knew that her father started out as a martial artist, but failed to pass the ranking event of professional 9th pin several times. Later, he switched to other industries and made a fortune, reaching the pinnacle of life. However, no matter what, his vision and knowledge were still there. He was still her idol. So she excitedly chattered, "Our coach is super awesome. He blew up the sandbag with one punch." "Blew up?" Wu Qinggue asked in confusion. Did she mean it literally or was she exaggerating? Wu Ting gestured with her hands and said, "He really blew it up. Like this, he blew it up." Wu Qinggue's mouth was half open. After a while he muttered to himself, Is this something a professional 9th pin can do? Since when did Xiaofan have such a powerful fighter? And he came here to teach a half-grown child?" Wu Ting noticed the change in her father's expression. Suddenly, a thought flashed through her mind. Coach Lu may be many times more powerful than we thought. After lunch in the strength training gymnasium, the temporarily single Lu Cheng called Qin Rui and asked him to come to the martial arts school in the afternoon for guidance on still stance. Qin Rui laughed and said, "You're free so soon? You haven't had a date with your girlfriend recently." Lu Cheng answered casually, "She went to her grandfather's house." After saying that, He suddenly felt that something was wrong. How did Qin Rue know that he often saw his girlfriend? Maybe he just asked casually. I can't reveal anything in the future. Qin Rue hung up the phone and quickly sent a message to Jiang Fei. Fatty Jiang, go and ask Song Li if Yan Zheka went to her grandfather's house. Chapter 232. When Jiang Fei received the message, he immediately opened up a discussion group. Initially, he did not have Song Li's QQ number. However, after spreading the news of Song Li and Du Liyu's relationship, Du Liyu pulled him into this discussion group. After receiving Song Li's criticism and education, Jiang Fei made a deep self-reflection and self-criticism. Fleeting memories. Song Li, are you there? Can I ask you something? At this moment, Jiang Fei was feeling nervous, excited, expectant, and excited. He wanted to confirm something, but also wanted to deny something. It was quite contradictory. Fleeting memories, Song Li quickly replied. What's the matter? Don't ask for a secret. I won't tell a blabbermouth like you. Jiang Fei took a deep breath and typed on the keyboard. Yan Zheka is at her grandfather's house these days, right? Why do you ask? Song Li replied warily, suspecting that Fatty Jiang had ulterior motives. Jiang Fei picked up the cup beside him and took a sip, then typed, I want to confirm something. If you tell me the answer, I'll tell you a secret later. Song Li's curiosity was piqued. What secret? You tell me first. It seemed to be about Yan Zheka. If you don't answer my question, I can't confirm the secret. Jiang Fei revealed a little bit of his bottom line. Song Li thought for a while and felt that it was not too important, so she replied, Yan Zheka is at her grandfather's house. She also promised to go shopping with me when I come back. She was really at her grandfather's house. Jiang Fei only saw the first half of the sentence and his jaw dropped. Even though he was already prepared, his heart was still in turmoil. Images of the past flashed through his mind. She was wearing a military training uniform, but she was still beautiful and eye-catching. The fun and joy of sneaking glances at Class 3 with Cheng and the others when they passed by Class 3. Every little detail of her passed by word of mouth. The most beautiful and pure memories of youth and girls. During the winter holidays, Cheng chatted with a gentle smile on his face on his mobile phone. I'm so stupid. I should have guessed it earlier. Jiang Fei patted his forehead and suddenly remembered that he had asked Lu Cheng if the girl he was chasing was a classmate of Songqing University. Lu Cheng's answer was yes. She was a classmate of Songqing University and someone I knew. Who else could it be but Yan Zheka? Hey, Fatty Jiang, where's the promised secret? Where are you? Song Li asked when she saw that Jiang Fei had not replied for a long time. Jiang Fei subconsciously raised his hand to reply, but accidentally knocked over the glass of water beside him. With a crash, the water spilled out. He hurriedly picked up the computer, pulled out a tissue, and wiped the desktop. Suddenly, he sighed and cursed under his breath. Damn, Cheng, I'm so envious of you. He was happy for his good friend from the bottom of his heart, but there was also a faint sense of melancholy and disappointment. Cheng was not the only one who had a crush on Yan Zheka. That was the purest and most innocent dream that many boys had of their youth in high school. But now, it was monopolized by Cheng. This guy actually managed to win Yan Zheka's heart. Although he has become very strong now, I still can't believe that Yan Zheka likes him. Jiang Fei calmed down all kinds of emotions, put down the computer, and replied to Song Li. The secret is that Yan Zheka is in love. After sending this sentence, he felt an inexplicable sense of loss. What? Yan Zheka is in love? How come I didn't know? Song Li said in shock. She had been in contact with Yan Zheka every day. How could she not know that she was in love? She must be lying, right? No. Song Li suddenly remembered that this semester, her focus had been on Du Liyu. She was in the phase of being in love and had subconsciously neglected many things. She thought carefully and remembered that Yan Zheka would mention the martial arts club from time to time. And every time she did, a familiar name would come up. It's with Lu Cheng, right? Song Li suddenly realized and asked in return. Why am I so slow? When a girl inadvertently mentioned a boy's name repeatedly, the meaning was self-evident. F***ck. How did Song Li guess it so quickly? Cheng and Yan Zheka were so obvious? Jiang Fei was stunned and replied, "Yes, they have been together since last semester." It was hard to imagine what Yen Zheka would be like when she was in love. At this moment, Jiang Fei, who had told Qin Rui the result, suddenly frowned and felt that he had made a mistake. To be honest, if he had won Yen Zheka's heart, he would have spread the news to the whole class. Why did Cheng want to hide it? Could it be that he had no choice but to do so? Damn it, I've already said it. Why can't I control my mouth? Jiang Fei picked up his phone nervously and decided to call Lu Qing first. Surrendering should not be a death sentence, right? Beep. Lu Cheng picked up his phone and saw that the down payment of 10,000 yuan had been received. He smiled at Qin Rui and said, "Stop for a while and try again. Don't rush. The more you rush, the harder it will be to meditate." Okay. Qin Rui opened his eyes and moved his neck. He took the phone back from the machine beside him. It's really Yen Zheka. He took a closer look and his knees almost gave out. There was only one thought in his mind. I'm kneeling down to Brother Lu. What's wrong? Lu Cheng noticed his abnormality and asked with concern. But as soon as he finished speaking, he felt the phone in his hand vibrate violently. Fatty Jiang? Lu Cheng picked up the phone in confusion. Hello, Fatty Jiang, what's up? Why did he have to call me in such a hurry? Jiang Fei swallowed hard and said, Cheng, tell me the truth. Are you in love with Yen Zheka? Lu Cheng felt like he was struck by lightning. He was stunned for a while and said, How did you know? He was going to deny it, but when the words came to his mouth, he couldn't say it. This was one of the things he was most proud of. You didn't want to tell me who your girlfriend is, right? I thought, if we don't even know your girlfriend, you don't have to hide it. So, she must be someone we know. Jiang Fei was about to blurt out Qin Rui's accomplice, but suddenly realized something and stopped. He planned to cover it up with Cheng's own disclosure during the winter vacation. However, Lu Cheng suddenly remembered Qin Rui's strange question. He turned around and glared at Qin Rui. Qin Rui's knees were really weak. So you asked Qin Rui to trick me? Lu Cheng interrupted Jiang Fei's statement. Haha, I'm just curious. Jiang Fei laughed dryly. Lu Cheng said unhappily, Why are you so nosy? I didn't say it because I was afraid you would spread it around. Hey, Fatty Jiang, you didn't tell anyone, right? I did. Jiang Fei answered weakly. Then he mustered up his courage and said, Why don't you just tell me and tell me not to spread it? I don't even know what's going on. How can I keep it a secret? Lu Cheng felt like he was going to faint. Who did you tell? Du Liu also told you not to spread it. How am I supposed to trust your mouth now? Qin Rui, Song Li, maybe Du Liu will see it too. Jiang Fei answered honestly. Qin Rui, Song Li, Du Liu? Good, the situation is still under control. Lu Cheng was slightly relieved. He didn't have time to strangle Fatty Jiang. He planned to solve the problem first. Hurry up and tell Song Li and Du Liu not to spread it. I'll ask Ku to tell them again. Leave Qin Rui to me. So smooth and affectionate. Jiang Fei almost burst into tears. He quickly replied, Okay, I'll tell them right away. No, warn them. But, Cheng, why do you want to hide it? This is great news. Lu Qing thought about it and felt it was inconvenient to talk about it over the phone. So he said, Come to Gushan Martial Arts School. I'll tell you face to face and bring Qin Rui along. Okay. Jiang Fei hung up and hurriedly sent a message to Du Liu and Song Li. Then he inexplicably wondered if he would be killed if he went to Gushan Martial Arts School. Lu Cheng hung up and looked back at Qin Rui. Qin Rui gave him a thumbs up and said with a bashful smile, Brother Lu, I sincerely call you Brother Lu. Who knows how many boys in our grade will hate you to the core and envy you to the core. Including me. Lu Cheng smiled helplessly. Don't tell anyone about this. Why not? Qin Rui asked in surprise. He had the same thought as Jiang Fei, that this was great news. I'll tell you when Fatty Jiang arrives. Lu Cheng pressed a button and called Yen Zheka. As soon as the call was connected, both of them spoke at the same time. Cheng, Song Li guessed that we're in a relationship. Cuckoo, Fatty Jiang has guessed our intentions. Both of them were stunned. Yan Zheka blinked and said, "What's the situation? Tell me from the beginning." So Song Li didn't guess it by herself. And she even pretended to be a detective in front of me. Here's the thing. Lu Chang told her about Zhang Fei's reasoning process and how he casually answered Qin Rui's question. He was a little annoyed. He was too careless and didn't have any vigilance. How could he hide it from his father-in-law in the future? Feeling her boyfriend's annoyance, Yan Zheka's instinctive emotions disappeared. She laughed and scolded, "Idiot Cheng. Our family's IQ still depends on me in the future. I'll remind Song Li and Du Liu again. I don't think they'll tell anyone. As for Qin Rui and Zhang Fei, why don't we treat them to a meal to thank them for not telling anyone?" Hearing his girlfriend's suggestion, Lu Cheng couldn't help but laugh. "Ku, I know you're much better and more mature than me when it comes to interpersonal relationships. But there's no need to be so formal between guys. I'll give Fatty Zhang and Qin Rui some pointers later." "All right, I'll trust you." Yan Zheka pursed her lips and smiled, showing her dimples. "Don't worry too much. Actually, I'm prepared to tell Song Li, Sister Jingjing, Gu Shuang and the others about our relationship in the next few days. They'll be our shields when we meet." For example, she could use the excuse of going shopping with Song Li to go to Cheng's place one day. For this kind of thing, she definitely had to explain to the other party and verify their statements. Phew, so only Zhang Fei and Qin Rui shouldn't know? I'll kill them later. Lu Cheng joked. Then he couldn't hide his longing and asked, "Ku, when are you coming back?" Yan Zheka touched the necklace in front of her chest and bit her lip. "I was going to come back tonight. But the weather is very gloomy and the wind is very strong. It looks like it's going to rain. I'm worried that something might happen to my parents if they drive over, so I asked them to wait a little longer. Maybe tomorrow night or the night after." Because Qin Rui was right beside him, Lu Qing didn't say anything sweet. He comforted the girl and hung up the phone. When Qin Rui finished another round of still stance, Zhang Fei arrived at the Gushan martial arts school. "Hey Cheng, where are you guys? Should I come in directly?" he asked over the phone. Lu Cheng pondered for a while and replied, "You wait outside. We'll find a quiet place." A few minutes later, the three of them met at the side of the martial arts school. There was an area marked off as a parking spot for bicycles and electric scooters. Lu Cheng observed the surroundings and found that there was only an old lady watching the scooters in the distance. He felt relieved and said humorously, "I've gathered all of you here so that I can silence you." Zhang Fei and Qin Rui burst into laughter and were no longer as cautious as before. "Cheng, so many people are jealous of your relationship with Yan Zheka. What's there to hide?" Zhang Fei asked straightforwardly. Lu Cheng shook his head and smiled bitterly. "'Cause family doesn't want her to date in college." "Oh." Zhang Fei suddenly understood. "Just tell us directly. We'll definitely keep it a secret." "That's right. If you don't tell us and we keep guessing, it'll be easier to leak it." Qin Rui echoed. "I don't trust your big mouth." Lu Cheng stared at Fatty Zhang and laughed. "No. I have to leave a deep impression on you so that you'll instinctively stop when you're about to say it." "What kind of deep impression?" Zhang Fei was very curious. Lu Cheng looked around and walked to the parking spot a few steps away. It was blocked by cement blocks and a few thin iron chains. "Think about your neck." Lu Cheng smiled and threatened them. Suddenly, he lowered his center of gravity and reached out his right hand to grab the thin iron chain. His knuckles and every inch of muscles and fascia in his hand suddenly exerted strength. With a snap, the iron chain was broken by him. Zhang Fei and Qin Rui were both stunned. They subconsciously took a step back and touched their own necks. "This is F*King Iron." Lu Cheng stopped his posture and smiled. "Remember it, right? This is the power that can only be achieved when you start to practice your martial arts in detail." As soon as he finished speaking, a harsh shout came from behind him. "Hey, stop!" The old lady scurried over and glared at Lu Cheng. "Which unit are you from? Which company are you in? Are you from the Gushan Martial Arts School? How can you destroy public property?" She blabbered a bunch of words as if she had turned on a machine gun. Lu Cheng was at a loss at first, then his face became dull. "Auntie, please stop. I'll pay for it, okay?" This is really a deep impression. You're tuning in to the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.